Go to samhsa.gov/know the risks.
You're watching this on the Yes Network as well. Peter and Don today. Yes, Don.
No, just I knew I was going to get this from people on social media.
Go ahead.
Peter Burke says there's no amount of money the Mets can offer Soto to lure him away from the Yankees to the Mets dumpster fire when they can stay with the Yankees, bat in front of Judge, the best hitter in Major League Baseball with a chance to win every year. Then why did he hire Scott Boras? He hired Scott Boras to get the most money possible. Now, the Mets are a dumpster fire. I'm not going to argue that, but they're a dumpster fire because they lose. You don't think it's possible? I mean, the Mets went to the World Series in 2015. They won 101 games a couple of years ago. So you make the right decisions, you can win again. And again, I agree with you. A negligible amount of money, he'd be foolish to leave. But if the Yankees can offer him $50 million and the Mets offer him $65 million, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but if it does, Peter, do you really think he's going to turn down that kind of money? He's not, because if he wasn't interested in getting top dollar, he wouldn't have Scott Boras as his agent. His hitting can speak for itself. He's a great player. You hire Scott Boras because your intent is to make as much money as humanly possible. I'm sure, given truth serum, he'd rather stay with the Yankees. He'd be nuts to leave. But the Yankees aren't the only team that can offer a ton of money. And there are some billionaires out there that will throw more money at the situation. So we'll see. I hope you're right. I want him to stay here. You know, again, as a Met fan, I don't want them to buy their way to a championship. But I'm just reading the tea leaves. And it's not even really tea leaves. I'm just reading the room. If the money is that much apart, I'm sorry. If he had another agent, maybe I would buy it. And maybe he will change his mind, or maybe he will decide to go against what Scott Boras' wishes are. Scott Boras, Peter, do you ever see Scanners?
No, but I know the famous.
It's one of that's the thing. Most people have never seen Scanners, but they know the part where the guy's head blows up on TV.
That's right.
That would happen to Scott Boras' head if he negotiated a $60 million a year contract with the Mets, and Soto said, "No, I'm going to stay with the Yankees for 50."
I'm good.
And I wouldn't mind Boras' head exploding, because I don't think he's good for baseball, and sometimes I don't think he's good for his clients. But he is what he is, and he would definitely explode if that were to happen.
Let's go to Alex, who wants to say something to Don. Hey, Alex in Florida.
What's going on, guys? Love the show.
Hi, Alex.
Original native New Yorker, now living in Florida. Don, I got to give you your props, man. I followed the Rangers, you know what I mean? As a New York guy, you follow most of your New York teams, but I was never really into hockey until this year. Listening to you talk about hockey over the years, getting a knowledge of it, you calling the games and whatnot that I watched, you really got me interested in hockey, so much so that, like, I'm looking forward to watching it, trying to study the game, trying to get, you know, those little nuances that I know in other sports that I follow. So, you know, big ups to you and props to you for doing your job so well and so excellent.
Well, that means a lot to me, because you know how I feel about the sport. And I think talking about it opens doors, right, Peter? When you talk about something, people are like, oh, well, this is interesting. He's passionate about it. I respect his opinion. Let me give it a try. So I hear a lot of people say that. So, listen, the sport can speak for itself, but sometimes it can't, right? Because it just doesn't get the attention that it deserves until you get a team that was as good as the Rangers and kind of just captivate the imagination of a city for a little while. And they deserve most of the credit, but I do appreciate that you were able to listen to me and gain some knowledge off of it. That's cool.
Let's go to Ray in Brooklyn. What's up, Ray?
Hi, how you doing, guys?
What's up?
Just to chime in, it looks like the jury had a deal on the table by the deadline that he turned around and thought was too expensive, of Kako, Scratcho, and a first rounder.
Who's Scratcho?
For Adam Henrique and Frank Vetrano. And I feel like those guys might have made a difference in this series. I'm not saying they would have won the series, but I think ice would not have been tilted like that so often if they had, you know, instead of deciding about a half-baked, Yeatle and Wheeler coming in, having that Vetrano and Henrique on there might have helped.
Yeah. So what was the deal? Wouldn't have been just for Kako. What else were?
It was Kako in the first round.
Yeah. Well, that's.
It was Kako in the first round.
it's a lot to give for guys that can walk. And listen, how would you feel, Henrique? Listen, he's going to the Stanley Cup final with Edmonton, but he missed over half the team, and Matt missed over half the playoffs because of injury. And listen, it's easy to say now. I think they're going to have to give up on Kakko at some point, but make it seem like a first-round pick is nothing, and it's not nothing. I mean, in retrospect, I guess it's easy to say they should have done that, Peter. But he even admitted they maybe not have won the series. Okay, so then what good would that have done? So what, they would have lost in 7 instead of 6? I don't know if it would have guaranteed them a chance to go.
Yeah, hard to say. Let's go to Nick in Los Angeles, California. What up, Nick?
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call.
Hi.
So, Peter, I guess the Summer Jam thing is ridiculous.
Which part?
Well, there's probably a lot of parts, but the idea that you have the power to do what they're saying you had done, like taking artists off the stage, is so funny. Because if you listen to how Ebro treats you every morning at 6 a.m., I mean.
You'd hardly believe you're lucky. You'd be lucky to believe I have the power to speak on the air. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I also wanted to say, Peter, that I spend a lot of time listening to both your morning and afternoon show, and I really appreciate you.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. And you know what's frustrating, Nick? I posted a video just now about the situation, and I get a couple of comments back. They're like, yeah, but you said it on the air. You said you were going to have the guy removed from Summer Jam. Guys, we do a morning show. Like, Don, sometimes it's just like, sometimes you say things with a straight face, and sometimes you say things passionately. We do it on this show, too. And it's still not serious. Like, it's entertainment. Like, and no one's heard a morning show? Like, sometimes people just choose to be difficult, obstinate. You just you want to hear what you want to hear. Like, I get it. I understand it's a really good story, but yeah, it's not true. It's not remotely true. And if I did have that power, the first thing I would have done was change the name of the show to Peter in the Morning. Couldn't do that. Think I'm taking artists off of Summer Jam?
No. I mean, I wish you had that power. But like you said,
you wish I had it over here,
you
too.
would use it in a different way.
Come on, please. Although, Javier, last one before the break. Javier, your thoughts. You have a hip-hop thought, actually, for the show, too. What do you got?
Yeah, what's up, fellas? Before I clear the air about, my kid, Mr. Magoo, comment from Friday, Peter, while you were supporting the culture at the Roots Picnic and Summer Jam, Michael was also supporting the culture in San Francisco. Did you peep what he said when he saw the RZA at the San Francisco Giants game? And I quote, "There goes the RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan. It's spelled RZA, educating the people." I thought he was so close to saying it's the RZA, the Jizza, older.
Because he doesn't know.
He was going to go into it.
That's why he doesn't deserve credit.
I don't know.
Yeah, you can't give him credit for just spelling. Giving out a name spelling is you almost lose credit. Like, you don't have to. You have to explain that.
He would know.
Are you hating on Michael because he's not there, or you would do this if he was there?
Oh, do I ever hold back from hating on Michael when he's here? Michael's mad at me because last week he posted a picture of his outfit, and I commented, I'm upset about this. I did not like him wearing. I don't like the look he's been doing with the light pants and the dark jacket. Like, it's sort of like I'm halfway dressing up to go to church look. I'm not into it.
You are a gutless puke.
But I know that may be true, but I'm going to tell Michael the truth when I see him.
Oh, we don't hold back. Much to his chagrin, he wishes we would. How many times does he get upset that we're too hard on him on the air?
Oh my God! And you guys listen to the show every day. You can tell the days when he's just completely had it with us and is done. He makes it very clear. Everyone here is very honest. But no, I thought the part he was going to refer to for Michael's hip hop for the weekend was when he saw the boat and said that the boat looked lit. And Paul O'Neill had a good laugh at that. All right, we have a big 4 o'clock hour. We're going to get into the Caitlin Clark thing next. This thing, I feel like some media personalities are completely broken with how to deal with Caitlin Clark and the WNBA being a story. Seems like people are literally lost. We'll break it down next, right here on 98.7 ESPN New York, New York.
With Instacart, everything you love from ShopRite is in your phone. Keep earning Price Plus Club points and explore more savings in the app. Order now and get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes. With Instacart, everything you love from ShopRite is in your phone. Keep earning Price Plus Club points and explore more savings in the app. Order now and get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes.
With ButcherBox, you never have to worry about what's for dinner. We deliver grass-fed beef, organic free-range chicken, humanely raised pork, wild-caught seafood, and so much more. Get high-quality meat sourced from trusted partners with free shipping always, so you can always be prepared and enjoy the important things. Sign up for ButcherBox today.
Let's explore your future with Udemy. You can learn how to program and build websites, study design and create logos, improve your presentation skills, and sell your ideas. With Udemy, you can learn practical skills from thousands of online courses taught by real-world experts. Explore your future. Udemy.
If we weren't proud of the craftsmanship and level of detail that go into every pair of Warby Parker glasses, well, we probably wouldn't show you how they're made, including this part, which is our favorite. Wow. And this is also great. Each pair comes standard with lenses that are scratch-resistant, anti-reflective, and UV protective. Try 5 pairs for free at warbyparker.com.
Big season. More reasons to say yes. Yes to in-game live stats.
What a home run for Soto.
With Strike Zone, pitch by pitch, and player stats. Live stats. Check it out now on the Yes app.
Attention, please. You're watching Yes.
It's easy to stay safe online. Learn more at CISA.gov/secure our world.
On ESPN New York and on the Yes Network as well, Peter and Don. And so, Don, a lot of chatter over the weekend with Caitlin Clark. Her and the Indiana Fever narrowly beat Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky over the weekend, and then they got absolutely obliterated by the Liberty yesterday.
Right.
And the main thing that everyone's talking about is the hard foul that she took. And it has led to so much different conversation about the treatment of Caitlin Clark, with it seems like some people getting feeling like the other players in the league, the vets, are being hard on her and being too physical, not appreciating that she's a cash cow, and particularly that this foul that she took from Kennedy Carter was, egregious, over the top, etc. Here's Caitlin Clark on the foul that she took from Carter.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it, but I think it's just respond, come down, let your play do the talking. It is what it is. It's a physical game. Go make the free throw and then execute on offense. And I feel like that's kind of what we did, but, it is what it is, I guess. I don't know.
Here's Carter's response to the foul that she committed.
Kind of on the play before bumping in with Caitlin, it seemed like she turned to you a little bit after the Fever
I didn't answer no Caitlin Clark questions.
Did she say anything to you?
I don't know what she said.
What'd you say to her?
I didn't say anything.
That's enough.
So, Don, Carter wasn't the first to foul Caitlin Clark hard. It's been a thing that's been happening throughout. Right. I guess I'm a little confused, and maybe you can fill me in, as to why all of this is being made into such a big deal.
Well, it's being made into a big deal because of the fact that she is a special player. And there are people in the media and people around sports wondering, well, why would they do this to their cash cow? All of a sudden, their league is now relevant. The games that she plays in literally get like 10,000 more people on average than they would get if she wasn't in the game. So why would you harass and give a hard time to your cash cow? Well, my answer would be, well, when does that not happen in sports, Peter? When the young up-and-comer that's getting all the attention isn't going to have to go through something to show the world, can you take it? Can you handle it? Can you be a professional? Or is Carter jealous? I'm sure she is. How much money could she possibly make a year? There wasn't nearly any kind of attention on her before Caitlin Clark got there, so there's probably a level of jealousy. Guess what? Jealousy does exist in sports. And now you've got to pay your dues. As a rookie, do join the pros. This was what we were wondering. Will she be able to be the player she was in college here in the WNBA? Because now she's going up against professionals. But if you want to, and I'm not talking to her because she has handled it perfectly. She is being the professional that she should be. Moving on from it, not making a big deal out of it. I'm talking about all of her supporters who think they're supporting the league as being legitimate, which it is, but you're making it illegitimate by thinking she should get preferential treatment, because that's not what happens in professional sports. All right? This is not scripted. This is professional sports. Whether you're making $67,000 a year or $28 million, you are a professional basketball player that wants to win games. And when somebody comes in with all that money and all that fame and all that attention in any sport, I don't care whether it's football, what Caleb Williams is going to have to go through in his first NFL game, or what Connor McDavid had to do when he was a first overall pick jumping into the league, or Sidney Crosby or LeBron James, you are going to have to prove that you belong. And they're going to be jealous, petty people. They're going to knock you on your ass because that's what professionals do, because they want to win the game at the end of the day. They're not interested in ratings. They're not interested in attendance. They're not interested in exposure to the WNBA. When they're on the court, Peter, they want to beat the Fever. They want to beat Caitlin Clark. They want to beat her like a drum. And if you're asking any extra behavior to support her, what you are de facto saying is you don't think the sport's legitimate. Because if it is a legitimate sport, Peter, and it's a legitimate league, this is what you have to go through. This is sports. If all of a sudden you start thinking about the money and the attendance and what she means to the league and kind of doctor it up and give her a soft landing, then all of those players in the league wouldn't be professionals. They would be props. And that's not what this sport is about. If it is a legitimate league and they're legitimate professional athletes, which they are, this is what you have to go through. Would anybody be talking about trying to give LeBron James preferential treatment if he was getting beat up in the NBA? Or would they say, hey, you're going to have to learn to get through this because this is the big boy league now? So why would it be any different in the WNBA?
Couldn't agree with you more. I do not understand this conversation. I just am so utterly lost as to why anyone is upset. Like, imagine for a second, remove yourself, if you will, and fast forward 40 years from now, and they make the Caitlin Clark biopic about, like, the first, you know, big mainstream superstar of the WNBA. Wouldn't you almost expect in that movie that the rookie season would look like this?
Yes.
Wouldn't you expect in that movie that she'd be getting her ass kicked every single night, struggling to get, have they gotten more than one win yet? Struggling to get wins, getting blown out by the Liberty by 40 points. But I think we also have to be realistic for a second, guys. This is a tough part. This might be the real point, God, but I won't get it. This is the real one. Let's be honest, Don. You got a lot of men right now trying to talk about the WNBA who are a little bit out of their skis, because besides Ryan Ruocco and a few other people, they weren't covering it or paying attention.
They didn't care.
And now everybody's weighing in and trying to give these gigantic takes and think pieces on a league that they were ignoring. And I'm not trying to say that we were better on this show. All I'm saying is we're not pretending that we know about it now. Let's just watch the story and let these players do what they do and be excited about the fact that there's more attention. And if they're being physical with Caitlin Clark, let them be physical with Caitlin Clark. She's got this.
Yeah.
She's going to figure this out.
I don't know a lot of these players, and most people don't. But now they're learning about these players, and
but I know who Kennedy Carter is today.
She sounds like she wants to win, that she's a character, and these people don't want to be looked upon as props. They've been breaking their ass in the WNBA, getting drafted, making minimal amount of money, flying commercial up until this year. Why, Peter? Because they love the sport and they want to win and they want to be a professional athlete. And in comes Caitlin Clark. So are they supposed to look at her as the cash cow? Or are they looking to say, hey, now we're gonna get more exposure, and now we want to show everybody that this is a legit league. This isn't the Caitlin Clark League. This is the WNBA, and it's been around for 25 years before she got here. And there's a lot of really good players and professionals and women that want to win. And she's going to get up from it because she's handling it exactly the way she should, not making a big deal out of it. And she's going to grow, and she's going to become the great player that everybody expects her to become. But you are so right, Peter. If there's a movie about her, which one day I'm sure there will be, this is what you do. The bumps, the bruises of trying to make it to the big leagues because it's a legit league. If it was an illegitimate league, and I don't mean this disparagingly, but if this were a scripted sport like WWE, maybe she would be champion right away, or maybe there would be things or themes that would kind of promote her to be better. But in a league where everybody's just trying to get theirs, and they don't care about her money, and they don't care about her fame, and they don't care about her story. They care about their story and their team and their chance to win. They're trying to show everybody in the world, and I think this is great for the league, that it's legit, and it's still about winning at the end of the day, and that it's not scripted. And I think the people that are trying to support the league are doing it a disservice by trying to suggest anything other than that.
Let's go to Alex in Jersey. Hey, Alex. What do you got, man? Yeah, we got you.
So, Don, just real quick, met you a while back at the Del Frisco's Grill in Hoboken.
Okay, yeah, that was a while ago. I like that one.
You talked about me on the radio the next day, and I remember telling my wife, like, "Oh my God, they're talking." You didn't say my name, but, like, I was just like laughing. I was like, "Oh, that's hilarious." But so I'm like, I love everything. You know, always kind of on the same page as you. And I have one singular point when I called in, but then you kind of gave me a different viewpoint when you guys are talking.
Okay.
So first, and on the other side of it, the negative side of it, regardless of who she is and what her name is and like her background or whatever it is, it's not like she's just getting fouled hard going to the basket or something like that. You know, it's like it's not hockey. You know what I mean? This isn't hockey. It's not okay to get hip checked and like pushed around like that in a game where like James Harden can take a double clutch 3-pointer and get 3 foul shots for getting tapped on the wrist. Meanwhile, she's getting tabletop by defenders, you know? And so I feel like regardless of who she is, that's not the way that you're supposed to play basketball. And I think they're taking it out on her a little extra because of who she is.
Maybe.
Well, Alex, that may be true with the play with Carter that you're talking about, like where she's kind of looking the other way and she gets hit. But let's also be like realistic. Listen, Caitlin still took that like a basketball player takes a foul.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't know what it is. Like, I know she's, somewhat thin. She's not a super, like, brolic woman or anything. But, like, Caitlin's a strong person. She fell down. I understand what he's saying. It was outside the play, but she still hammed it up a little bit to draw a foul, which she did.
It wasn't that egregious. Come on. You don't think that there were young NBA players that took like a Karl Malone elbow to the temple that was like 10 times worse than that?
Well, I can give you some examples, guys. I don't know if you're aware of how it works when an incredible player gets to a league. But have you ever heard of something called hack-a-shack?
Mm-hmm.
Where the man was so good that the defensive philosophy, because now we all call it hack-a-blank with other people. They've changed what it means now. Now it's something that they do with anybody. It used to be very specific with Shaq because your only hope to stop him was to foul him and hope that he'd miss free throws. What about, Don, I believe there was a very famous book called The Jordan Rules.
Yeah.
You were going to D this guy up different. You were going to be physical. You were going to beat the hell out of him. There's a reason why old school players, we're going to talk to Joe Dumars this week. There's a reason why the old school players complain about the game today. Because they used to beat the hell out of new offensive players. And that happening to Caitlin Clark, frankly, guys, to me, it just makes me want to watch this league because they can't do it in the NBA. They're
Right.
softer in the
No, you're
NBA.
right. But
this makes you want to watch the league, Don.
It's no different than the upstart rookie getting some chin music from a starting pitcher, or an elbow in a hockey game, or getting sacked extra hard in an NFL game. I mean, take a look at what Peyton Manning had to go through his first year. Highly touted coming out of Tennessee, first overall pick, and he got harassed in Indianapolis, and then eventually they realized that this kid can handle it. He's good. I mean, it's different, and that's just kind of, it's not hazing, it's just that's kind of the rite of passage you go through, and there's a lot of attention on her, and I'm sure there's jealousy, Peter, that all of a sudden now you're paying attention to us because of her. Well, let's introduce myself to you, because I know when I hit her, there's going to be a lot of attention on me. And you're right, it wasn't that vicious of a hit.
No, I know you could make it that way if you want because it was outside the actual play. But calm down. Let's go to David in the car. Hey, David.
Hey, what's up, boys? How are you?
What's up?
The show.
Thanks, buddy.
Hey, thank you. I think it's all jealousy, all of it. Caitlin Clark is great. And I don't have the answer, but name the last 10 number one picks in the WNBA, the last 10 years or even longer, that have been treated this way. I don't know how many there are, but I just think it's all jealousy. I think she's great. I think she's great for the game, and it's great. All the attention is great, but name 10 other.
No, you couldn't.
Other number one draft.
And I think that's what makes her special, but she shouldn't get special treatment. And if it means she's got to get treatment the other way, then that's just the way life is. I'm sure it does come from jealousy, David. There's no question. But it also comes from the fact of, hey, this is what you're going to have to go through. That's why it's really hard to play professional basketball. And if it's done any other way, David, then it feels like that you're giving her, you're not treating her like everybody else. And maybe I'd rather see it overdone than underdone, I guess is the way I'm saying it. Now, should she be treated like every other rookie? I guess, but she's not every other rookie, Peter. That in the history of this sport, I mean, she's comparable to, I don't know if there's been this much hype about any player joining any league. So
it's up there.
So it's probably gonna be exaggerated. She's handling it fine, but any kind of special treatment to me makes the league seem illegitimate, and they don't want to do that.
Now, if you want to hear an interesting conversation that happened on our network about this subject, here is Monica McNutt. A lot of people talk about this on the internet, Don.
Yeah.
This is Monica McNutt and Stephen A. arguing WNBA earlier on First Take.
We're talking about them maximizing their great potential. And because we bring that up and talk about what potentially might get in their way, which we do to men all the time, now we got to sit up here and watch every syllable. I resent that.
Welcome to the world of being a woman, Stephen A., and how you have to dance about your word choice and you have to please everybody and anybody as you navigate your being. We are talking about the world's greatest
How about being a
athletes,
black
and
man?
there are so many layers in this conversation around the way that it's being discussed. No. And yes, Shannon, I know y'all are going to say and Stephen A., I know you just shared that you have talked about the WNBA on your program too. You guys may not have said everybody, but the prevailing sentiment for folks that are just joining the WNBA and following women's sports is unfair to the women of this league, to your point, who have laid the groundwork for Caitlin Clark to come in and now take it to the next level. That's all I'm saying in these conversations. Kennedy Carter's behavior is not indicative of the entire league. We are still talking about competition where you are allowed to get a little extra elbow in if you are competing and you do it within the parameters of the game. The game is physical. Caitlin is helping to grow the league. These women understand that, but she cannot be babied as a rookie. That's all I'm at.
Who talks about the WNBA? Who talks about women? Who talk about women's sports more than First Take?
Stephen A., respectfully, with your platform, you could have been doing this 3 years ago if you wanted to.
Who does more than
Stephen A., I'm talking to you.
Wow.
Don't do that. I'm talking to you about the power that you have.
Okay.
I'm talking to you.
You're my girl, but you've missed a lot of episodes of First Take. You missed a lot.
Stephen A., 3 years ago, you would not talk about the W at this level. Don't do that.
But what I don't understand, like everything that Monica said was true. I don't know where Stephen, again, I'm taking this out of context because I didn't watch the whole show.
Right.
What did it have to do with who talks more WNBA than First Take? What does that have to do with her point?
Maybe we got that. Maybe that was skipped ahead, though.
But now, if there's some sort of a point that he's entitled to have this opinion because he's talked more WNBA than anybody else, what Monica has to understand is, well, there wasn't much to talk about. And there really isn't anything other than Caitlin Clark right now to talk about. We're getting exposed to the league, but take a look at the attendance figures. You're talking about 6, 7, 8,000 people for a non-Caitlin Clark game, and you're talking about 17, 18,000 people for a Caitlin Clark game. So there's a reason to talk about it now. So let's not make anybody that wasn't talking about the WNBA out to be a bad guy. I hate that with the NHL too, right? Like when we finally start talking about, because the Rangers are good, we'll get a call from somebody saying, "Well, where were you the last couple of years?" Well, they weren't relevant, so we weren't talking about them. Like, don't get upset we weren't talking about the NHL. Be excited that we're finally talking about it. Same thing with the WNBA. Don't sit there and scold people for not talking about it for the last 3 years. Get excited that now we're actually talking about it.
But also, it is that thing that we talk about on this show sometimes. Like, it's... You said this earlier, Don. You said if the only subject to talk about with the WNBA is sort of the future of the league and, like, what it all means, then what are we really talking about? And I think what Monica, and again, we're parsing it from the pieces we heard, was frustrated with was that the conversation is always about, oh, these players don't understand what Caitlin means to the future of the league. Why can't we? I think you and I would both agree that at this point, a few weeks into this season, there are actual basketball storylines now to talk about with this league that don't have to always be about the future of the league. Let's just talk about the games.
That's the point.
Let's talk about, I like the physicality with Caitlin Clark. Let's talk about what's happening. Let's talk about Angel Reese. Let's talk about the New York Liberty. Let's talk about the league, not about what they have to do to keep winning over the popular vote.
Well, listen, they've got the platform now, right? There are more people than ever watching this league. And if they like what they see, then it'll start to grow and get talked about. Just like the NBA was saved by Magic and Bird, it's the same thing with Caitlin, is that you get somebody or a couple of people that get you interested in the sport, and then you find the other storylines. What was I talking about with hockey? I start talking about hockey, a couple of people start watching that never watched it before, and then now they start to like it. That's the hope. But right now it's about her. But I like the fact she's facing some adversity and she's handling it, and they're not paving the way for her. She's going to have to earn it, Peter, which is going to make it that much sweeter when she finally gets there.
But here's the little uncomfortable secret that's weaved into all of these conversations. And we can avoid it as much as we want.
Okay.
But the reality, Don, that you and I both know exists is there's a racial conversation that's always happening with people like Caitlin Clark, right? And the conversation is happening both ways. You are going to have black folks who are saying, really? It takes this one great white player, and now everyone, hold on, hear me out. Right. Now everyone wants to talk about the league. Oh, great. Just Caitlin's the first great player. So you're going to have people who say that.
I guess.
And then you're going to have the other way, Don. You can't ignore this. You're going to have, look at the poor little white girl getting knocked over by the stronger black players. Those conversations are existing, whether out loud or in people's heads, both directions. Well, and it makes the whole conversation a little, I don't know, a little more tense, a little more intense.
But it gets a little crazy, okay? I can't speak for anybody, but I think the reason we're captivated by her is how good she is as a player. I don't know if it would be any different if she were black. But I get other things, and this is going to make me sound like a bad guy. You know, when they go, oh, she's white and she's beautiful. Yeah, I don't find her especially attractive. She's a good basketball player. That's all I see.
I think it's more about the idea that the aesthetic for what is attractive is white. That idea that in America it is that.
I can only speak for myself.
I just think it's important to understand that the conversation is loaded, and I feel like everyone tiptoes around it when I do think everyone would agree. Whether you've had a thought on either side of that conversation, everyone can put that aside and agree with one thing. The woman can ball.
Right, exactly.
And she's an absolute baller. And not only that, she is a grown-up playing in a professional league. And if she gets hit, she comes right back. She hasn't at one moment complained, said she thinks it's unfair. So why does everyone want to make up rules for her? Let her be. She'll figure it out on her own, or she won't, in which case she's not great. But guess what? It looks like Based on what we've seen from her in college and so far, she's going to figure out a way to be great.
I mean, you're not wrong to bring it up, Peter, and I know people get upset when you do bring it up, but it is in the background, right? Because that's the conversation that was had. If she was black and a white woman had done that to her on the court, what would they say? That she did it because of the color. But I don't think this was done for any other reason, but they're probably just jealous of the attention that she's getting. And I would like to think in a world, no matter where she was from or what color her skin was, if you played basketball at that kind of level, people would freak out about it and think it's awesome. So, but I don't know what motivates people. I don't know why this in particular became. There's been other great players, but for whatever reason, is it because she's that much better? Is there some it factor about it? I don't know.
Well, she does have an it factor, and like I've always said, the fact that she has a Steph Curry-like game of pulling up from 90 feet, that does make a player inherently appealing. And by the way, this racial thing is across all sports, guys. Tiger Woods may be the greatest golfer of all time, but part of the hype around Tiger was that he was a person of color. That was also a big part of the Tiger Woods story. Whether we like it or not, our country's obsessed with it.
I know, but I would like to think that we could possibly live in a world where she could be treated for everything but the color of her skin. That you could not like her because of the attention she's getting. Or maybe you just are jealous. Whatever it is.
Or
that it could be a myriad of things, but not that one.
And maybe, and by the way, even jealousy, I know the word, I know what you're saying, but it's more like whenever there's a good player, you put them on their back. That's what you do. We'll do this.
Connor Bedard got an elbow in the head and broke his jaw with a black eye. I just think it's a rite of passage when the young kid comes in. There's some dues that has to be paid, whether it's a Karl Malone elbow or a Gordie Howe elbow or a Lawrence Taylor shoulder. Like you're going to get a little extra when you come up just to put you back in your place, just a little bit.
Look at the statistics on how many times Tom Brady has been hit throughout his career. This is literally what happens in sports. We'll do more Rangers. We got more Yankees. More on this Caitlin Clark as well.
John Butchercroft's coming up next.
Oh, we got John Butchercroft next. Plus, Bucci will talk some Rangers and hockey with him as well. It's the Case Show.
Switch to Square and join over 4 million businesses worldwide. Start with our point of sale. More than a system, it's the brain of your business. Train your staff in minutes and connect your POS to a KDS to handle orders ASAP. And with Square Banking, get a loan quickly for everything from small repairs to the biggest dreams. Gain time and peace of mind with restaurant tools that bring everything together. Switch to Square today. Visit square.com to get started.
With ButcherBox, you never have to worry about what's for dinner. We deliver grass-fed beef, organic, free-range chicken, humanely raised pork, wild-caught seafood, and so much more. Get high-quality meat sourced from trusted partners with free shipping always, so you can always be prepared and enjoy the important things. Sign up for ButcherBox today.
Switch to Square and join over 4 million businesses worldwide. Start with our point of sale. More than a system, it's the brain of your business. Train your staff in minutes and connect your POS to a KDS to handle orders ASAP. And with Square Banking, get a loan quickly for everything from small repairs to the biggest dreams. Gain time and peace of mind with restaurant tools that bring everything together. Switch to Square today. Visit square.com to get started.
Hard water makes it hard to keep your home looking like the work of art you've always envisioned it would be. Culligan softeners reduce hard water buildup and your cleaning time, transforming every drop, every splash, every rinse into the fine art of a long-lasting clean. With a Culligan water softener, revel in the breathtaking beauty of your home, just the way you've always pictured it. Culligan, water you love.
Away makes luggage and bags that make packing, compressing, cinching, zipping, sliding, and going easier than ever. Away.
Learn more about how No Kid Hungry is helping end child hunger in America at helpnokidhungry.org.
How do you sleep at night?
Oh, on a mattress from Mattress Firm. So I sleep.
It's Mattress Firm's Memorial Day sale. Get a queen mattress and adjustable base for $499.99 and save over 60%. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
For years, one company has battled to deliver business products the next day with no freight charges. Now, WB Mason, with their famous fleet of trucks and drivers, faces their biggest challenge, rescuing shipping and packaging buyers from expensive freight charges. That's right. Now, boxes, stretch film, and packaging tape are delivered the very next day at amazingly low prices. So, who do you call for fast delivery and no expensive freight charges? Who but WB Mason?
When I hit 80, I needed help around the home. A friend of mine told me to call Freedom Care, and they'll pay my granddaughter to take care of me.
Funded by Medicaid, Freedom Care allows people to choose who provides their care, and the caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift.
Life is sweeter with her around.
Nanny gave me so much joy as a child. Now it's my turn to return the love.
Call now to find out benefits and pay, and how fast you can get started.
Please just leave me alone.
Visit linkedbylovetv.org to learn more about kidney disease, transplantation, and prevention. Get the facts, get checked, and get healthy.
All right, well, tomorrow, by the way, no easy victories. The 94 New York Rangers debuts at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and ESPN Plus. One person I know excited about that is our guest at this time, John Buccigross. John Bucci, what's up? It's Peter and Don. How are you?
Hello, Peter and Don. I'm wonderful.
Before we go back to 94, obviously on the mind of all of our listeners today is what went wrong with this New York Rangers team. And I guess the big question is, how much change do you expect for this New York Rangers franchise this offseason?
Yeah, it's hard to get into the head of Chris Drury. He's a tough nut to crack. Poker face, quiet dude. Hard to figure out what his next move is. You know, he's obviously a sports savant, amazing competitor, champions, done everything from Little League to Stanley Cups. And so I know he has strong opinions, I'm sure. He has a good eye, and I'm sure he's not afraid to be bold. And so there's a lot of different directions they could really go, and you wonder what he really thinks about some things. The salary cap is obviously an issue in this sport. It's a hard salary cap, no luxury tax, nothing like that in the other sports, or signing bonus stuff you can do in the NFL to create room. You can't really create room here unless you trade people or buy them out. You know, he's got options there. Jacob Trouba makes a lot of money for a 5'6" defenseman. 2 years left on his $8 million deal. There's options there. But you got people you have to sign coming up in the future. Chandra Miller is going to be a $7 million player. Shesterkin could be a $9 to $10 million player. Zibanejad contract looks brutal now. So it's a lot of stuff for him to deal with this hard NHL salary cap.
And what people need to realize, John, is, and I'm not accusing Ranger fans of this, You get so focused on your own team. You could make the case, and I'd love to see if you agree, the Panthers are the only team better than the Rangers. I mean, that's the frustrating thing. It's a 30-team league. You're probably two. I think they could beat Dallas. I think they would beat Edmonton. It's just unfortunate that that's the team you had to get through in this round. If Boston, for some reason, beat Florida, and there's a reason why they didn't, I think the Rangers are getting ready to play the Edmonton Oilers. The Florida Panthers might be the only team in the league better than the Rangers.
Yeah, it is so much about timing and who you play when you play, and you're right. That could be the case. And the problem is the Panthers are going to be the Panthers for another 3 to 5 years.
Right.
So they're going to be the team in the East, the beast in the East. But, things happen. Guys get hurt, whatever. So, yeah, you're right. But I still think he's going to look at the team and, Chris Drury, that is, and see what little things can we do to create. We are an older team. We have guys over 30. We got to be careful here. Kreider will probably age well. He's a genetic freak. But, Panarin, this might have been his last great year. Obviously, speed is not his strength now. Zibanejad didn't look great. But, again, you can still have really good years in your low to mid-30s. And they certainly still have that window. So, but it's still a reality. They have guys coming up who are going to get big bumps and to try to keep this team together. And that's fun. Lafreniere looks like he's going to be, again, his deal is going to be up, and he might be suddenly a $7.5 million player. Maybe you didn't expect that last year, and now you're really up against it with the cap coming up. But that's why they pay Chris Drury to deal with that and to deal with this window. What is the window, and how do you manage it? That's the whole gig right now.
John, I had a conversation with you in San Francisco during the Super Bowl. This is going back years ago. And you were like, God, I want to get back to doing NHL hockey again. I miss it so much. And you were doing college hockey and a great job. But getting hockey back at ESPN, what did it mean to you as somebody, a lifelong hockey fan that cared so much about the sport, not just the NHL, but the sport in general, to be able to get back calling these games and get involved again around ESPN?
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. It probably got me another contract. That's the first thing. Self-serving, it probably extended my career a little bit. Got 2 years left. But I'm a UFA. But, yeah, it was just amazing. And then to be able to call games. I grew up listening to hockey games on the radio. I grew up around Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My dad was a Boston guy. So, yeah, you're not seeing many hockey games on TV in the early 70s, the mid-70s. So you would listen to WBZ radio and Bruins games because it came in clear as a bell. Westinghouse broadcasting. I listened to St. Louis Blue games, KOMX, and of course the KDKA in Pittsburgh with Mike Lang. So I grew up with hockey on the radio, so I kind of invented the sport in my own head. And it was always like this gothic religious experience to me, like these old arenas that reminded me of the churches that I went to Mass on Sundays. You had the organ music, you had blood. It was just like this was like My Chemical Romance and church combined in one big incredible experience. So it was a visceral sport for me. So as I grew up loving everything, like a lot of us American kids did back then, hockey was just luckily part of that for me. So once I got to ESPN in 1996, it's always served me well to have that be my niche. And it's worked out well with college now. I'm doing 11 Frozen Fours, and I'll call in the NHL for the last 3, and I want to keep getting better at it and look at it like a craft. And so, yeah, it was awesome for me, and it's been just an absolute dream come true.
So, Booch, what are your memories of that 94 Rangers team and the sort of the amazing story that surrounds them?
Yeah, again, that was an interesting time. I was 27 years old, working on Cape Cod, my first TV job. Had 1 2-year-old kid, second kid on the way. As this guy in his mid-20s here, not making any money in very local cable television, and wondering what the world was going to be like. And remember, back then it wasn't even exclusive rights, right? You didn't have to watch the game on ESPN. They still did the local broadcast, and so it was just hockey was so far behind in so many ways, which I think gives that year one of the last, kind of a mythical figure about it. It seems like almost old-timey hockey before, obviously, it blew up with Fox and then with ESPN and then exclusive rights and then everything, and kind of NHL caught up with the rest of the sports, not just being this Canadian boys club sport that it always was. It became more international, more Americanized in the 90s, and that was kind of a part of it. So that team, to me, kind of straddled that. You think about that team, really interesting. You remember the leading scorer in that team was back then?
Was it Zubov?
No one's going to get this right. It was Zubov, right? But how many Ranger fans say Zubov?
It's a great trivia question.
And so it is a great trivia question. You think about Messier, of course. You think about Matteau, and you don't really think about a Hall of Famer like Zubov. So there's a lot of little Easter eggs within this big basket for that team. Like I said, it was kind of an interesting time, mythical time, but being in New York, it was gigantic, and it was kind of obviously just before the Yankees started to do what they did. So it was a really cool time for New York City sports fans.
John, I'm like you. I'm a hockey junkie, and I watch Connor McDavid, and I think he's as good as we've seen, since Gretzky. I think he's that good, and I think history is going to be very, very kind to him. But you know how superstars are, especially in this sport. You got to play at the highest levels. How big is it for him, and how big is it really for the league to be able to have Connor McDavid in the Stanley Cup final?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Again, another case study. We don't know until we go through it. Will it create any buzz? Will it create any kind of different kind of ratings, demographics? Like, what does it really mean for the sport? Will it still be this kind of parochial sport that's really an intense regional phenomenon in certain regions? But other than that, it's just, okay, it is what it is. This is the chance for sure to have the best player shine. Like you said, I think it's important for him to really produce and do great things like he did last night with that goal, which kind of went viral. We know it's hard to do that in hockey. It's a team sport. You can get whacked and hacked. But highlights aren't just a basketball. It's going to be a great basketball play, every play for someone. There's going to be something that makes you go, ooh, when you're watching LeBron in his prime. It doesn't always happen with hockey. It's a different kind of sport. But, yeah, I think it'll be nice for him to shine on this stage, and we'll see. Well, that's, like I said, it's going to be fun to at least think about and talk about that.
How do you see the Sidney Crosby story in Pittsburgh playing out?
That's a great one, man. It's like you wake up one day and said, yeah, I want one more run somewhere else. It's not going to happen here. We're going backwards. We're getting older. There's no phenoms in the system to support us. Even like a Lafreniere, who can help support the Rangers' older players these next 2-3 years in their championship window, where he's going to start pumping in 35-40. Like, you need someone like that to kind of appear. Pasternak appeared for Bruins fans 3-4 years ago. Every team needs that guy to appear to help the 34, 35, 36-year-olds. And the Penguins don't even have that. So you just wonder if Sidney Crosby, I want to be a one-team guy. I'm going to ride it out, sign one more contract. He'll probably sign a big one this summer, maybe $10 million for 4 years to get him to the end. Or will he wake up and say, you know what, I want to go somewhere else. I'll take less, pick out my team, and maybe I can win 1 or 2 more cups, whether it's McKinnon in Colorado or whether it's somewhere else. Go to Canada. Maybe he wants to play for Montreal if they keep adding amazing players, and he's a Montreal fan growing up in Nova Scotia. So it's really about Sidney Crosby. Will he wake up one day and say, trade me? And they would. Or if he's going to say, nope, I want to be a one franchise guy.
And he when it's all said and done, he's definitely a top 10 guy. Top 5 we can argue, but he has been everything as advertised when he was drafted. Not only the kind of person he is, but the player. He is everything.
He's aged well. He's a chance for 2,000 points. That's kind of been my personal challenge to him, be the second guy with 2,000 career points. He's got a chance if he stays healthy and plays till 40, 42, which is not a big deal anymore in any sport. I mean, Yager played. Chelios played till he was 49. Played for the Thrashers last year. And then, Yager 45, 46, and no one trains and dedicates himself to 365 days of hockey nutrition than Sidney Crosby. So I'd like to see him get that 2,000 points, and it would just be him and Gretzky, and then he would support his argument, like you mentioned. Is he a Mount Rushmore guy? Does he pass Howe? Does he? And then he joins Orr and Gretzky and Lemieux, or then does McDavid bump somebody out? Right. It's fun. The sport is lucky. The sport is rich right now.
Yeah, and certainly Sid winning another cup for another team would just add a lot to his legacy as well. Booch, thanks so much for making time. We look forward to all watching this Rangers doc tomorrow, but thanks for cutting some time out for us.
Anytime, boys. Appreciate you.
Thanks a lot,
take
man.
care. The great John Booch-Gross right here on the K Show on 98.7 ESPN New York. And, of course, on Yes, more of your phone calls next. We'll do some more Rangers. Got to talk. A lot of people, of course, want to talk about the historic month of May for Aaron Judge and the amazing play of Juan Soto. We'll do it all right here next on the K Show.
I love it when people say that something's impossible I see that as a challenge.
Put it on the rest. Put it on the rest. Put it on the rest.
Never read a line of poetry, I'm not a poet, but I sit up in the back of my buttons cause I'm fresh. Never read a book on how to rip it, I just saw it, I don't need your explanation cause I'm better than the rest. Better than the rest. Better than the rest. Let me take you for a ride. I can make you feel alive.
Switch to Square and join over 4 million businesses worldwide. Start with our point of sale. More than a system, it's the brain of your business. Train your staff in minutes and connect your POS to a KDS to handle orders ASAP. And with Square Banking, get a loan quickly for everything from small repairs to the biggest dreams. Gain time and peace of mind with restaurant tools that bring everything together. Switch to Square today. Visit square.com to get started.
There are a lot of us now, and it means so much when we can all be together, especially when we can do something good, like our yearly service project. We're also running a t-shirt fundraiser through Custom Ink to help raise more money and awareness for the cause. Our t-shirt fundraiser with Custom Ink makes it easy to share our campaign and help our community, and their design services team helped us get a design we love. I'm proud that we can make a difference together as a community. Come together for a cause. Get started today at customink.com.
We have food at home. Now means something deliciously easy with Home Chef. With our quick, energizing breakfast options to enjoy on the go, tasty lunches ready in minutes to help you power through the day, and easy prep, no mess dinners for busy weeknights. Your favorite place to grab a bite is right at home. Get breakfast, lunch, and dinner delivered to your door by Home Chef. And don't forget dessert. Order now and get 18 free meals and free shipping, plus free dessert for life.
Sharing a table brings people together in a way that few things do.
You don't need measuring cups. 1 cup, 2 cup.
Your family don't care if it's messy. They just care if it's delicious.
Oh my gosh. Share a meal with your family and friends and be really proud of what you've created.
Let's cook.
Goya Adobo, a simple shake is all it takes to add authentic, bold Latin flavor to get a 5-star review. If it's Goya, it has to be good.
A better banking app is right at your fingertips. Download Dave, and you could get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less, right through your phone. There's no interest, no credit checks, and no late fees. Because getting help shouldn't set you back. Switch to the banking app made for you, and you could get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. Download the Dave app now, or go to dave.com today.
Summer is around the corner. Put your plans in motion with great deals at the Ford Memorial Day sales event. Go places near and far, on-road and off-road. Bring your friends and all your toys. You've got the plans. We've got the deals. The Ford Memorial Day sales event. Get a head start on summer. Returning lessees, hurry in to lease a Bronco Sport for just $289 a month. Now in the final days of our Memorial Day event.
You know, when I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yep, tough day at work. Nice cruiser sort you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Oh, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You gotta pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so...
Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
Randy is not a big fan of cooking, but everyone loves his adobo chicken. Because with Goya Adobo, a simple shake is all it takes to add authentic, bold Latin flavor to get a 5-star review. If it's Goya, it has to be good.
I was diagnosed at 65.
37. Earlier than most.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson Disease Association. Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today.
98.7 ESPN New York. Peter and Don. Great conversation there with John Buccigross. By the way, it's being speculated that Darren Waller is going to retire, Don.
Okay.
He also dropped a new song today.
He did.
Yeah.
Off of the heels of the original.
Oh yeah. Let's hear how this one sounds.
Want a day in the life being me. Everything that happens between you and your wife on TMZ. Trying to kick the dough in this rap just like a B&E. Speaking to the blind, it's no wonder they weren't foreseeing me. For a minute, I admit they was deceiving me. Pleasing everybody, forgot I had to believe in me. It's all good when you got all them yards receiving to them cards you're reading ain't that great. It's hard receiving a message from God that he's taking back what you've been blessed with. I'm foaming at the mouth. They know I ain't the one to mess with.
No. I mean, you're the hip-hop guy. You tell me.
Let's not, Darren. Let's not. The first one, the singing one, the auto-tune singing one was like passable.
Okay.
That one, I'm not saying, listen, I don't want to rip the guy if he's trying to do it. Just keep working. Let me say that. Keep working. I think that needs a little work still. Now, you may remember when the Giants acquired Darren Waller.
Yes, I remember.
And the level of excitement that existed. But Anthony gave me this. August 17th. Let's go back in time. August 17th, 2023. This is sort of my issue with Jordan, what he said yesterday about Waller and what everyone's saying about Waller. There's just not enough history of Waller being healthy and good for me to treat that like a foregone conclusion. Half his career he's been injured. Half his career, he's been awesome. And I guess I personally have experience with having an amazing tight end, one who I'll tell you right now, talent-wise, I would have taken him even over Waller in Jordan Reed, who could never stay on the field. And it ended up just being totally brutal. And the guy you think is going to be your number one player, you never get to use at all. And I feel really bad in football when that happens, Don, right? Because you can't begrudge guys who can't stay on the field. It's that kind of game, and some people's bodies just end up not being able to take it. But the idea that this team is going to be improved 100% because of Darren Waller is a little tough for me to accept until we get into this season and see how he's doing. All said and done, Don, he played in 12 games, 52 receptions, 552 yards, 1 touchdown. And now it is expected that he will retire. And by the way, obviously feel for the dude. He's had a tough offseason. His marriage fell apart, all those things. And it is very public. Super feel for the guy. But Don, of course, if this were to end right now, what a monumental failure of a trade.
No, awful. Because we were sold, and I remember that interview, and I even brought up to you during our meeting that you should take your bows having that opinion.
Thank you.
Is that it was sold as this was going to be the weapon. This was going to be the guy. And if you look at the history of the Giants, they've always utilized the tight end well. Going back to Mark Bavaro and Ballard, all the different guys that they seem to have of just a revolving door of tight ends, but it always seemed traditionally to be how they were able to move the ball down the field, and it just never worked out. Now, it wasn't all because of injury. He was also ineffective when he was healthy. Now, is that a byproduct of Daniel Jones and the offensive line? I don't know, but we were sold a bill of goods. This was going to be great. It was not. Yes, it's showing the stats, 552 yards receiving in 12 games. He missed 5 games because of injury and the like. So, yeah, it's not going to go down as a great play by Shane. And if he retires, I don't think Giants Nation is going to miss him. And if he decides to go into the music career, I don't know much about it. It sounds like it's okay, not great. But that's the question, Peter. Is he a better artist or a better football player? The fact that it's even a conversation, I think, is...
No, it's football player. It's definitively football player. But I just don't know.
Is it?
It's definitively football. No, he played good football when he played.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't think the music's the way. I don't think it's the direction.
Again, the Giants traded a compensatory 2023 third-round pick.
Okay.
All right. So again, it was probably worth the shot. I didn't give up a lot for him. It didn't work out.
It's probably less about the value of the deal and more about the failure of the expectation. So many people are just like, "Oh, this offense is going to be different. I'll just wait." Let's take a call or two before the break. Let's hear from Josephine in the Bronx. She's been on hold. Hey, Josephine.
Hey, guys. I called in a couple of months ago talking about the WNBA then. I appreciate you taking the call.
Of course.
Just two things. First of all, Caitlin Clark, I love Caitlin Clark. I don't ever watch college sports, and definitely not college basketball, and I watched so much this year, probably more than in my entire life. She's really good at taking a flop. It was a hard hit, no doubt about it, but where's the coverage from all the other hard hits that people have taken during the games? She'll be fine. I'm not saying, and I want anybody, she shouldn't get injured, anything like that, but she's got to learn this. The WNBA game is different than the college game. It's just the way it is. The other thing, you're talking about, everybody is now talking about, like, the WNBA is relevant and whatever. It's been relevant for a while. It just hasn't gotten the coverage. And I get it. There's so much other stuff to cover, and I'm glad that all the sports shows are actually now talking about it. If it's Caitlin Clark, not Caitlin Clark, it doesn't matter. Have you guys actually watched any of the Liberty games? They're 7-2 already to start the season, so...
Well, I need you.
Nice.
Listen,
and thank you for talking about it in the 4 o'clock hour and not on ENN.
We're going to talk about it when it's relevant, and what relevance is kind of a loose term. Listen, we live in New York, all right? We just came off a Nick.
This isn't North Dakota.
Well, we just came off a Nick and Rangers run. You know, the Yankees are the best team in baseball. All right, the Mets have their fans, although whenever we talk about them, the yes crowd
let's
gets
be honest.
so
Let's be
upset.
honest. The Liberty should surpass the Mets. Let's be honest.
But certain people think if we're talking about anything but the Yankees, they want to kill themselves. It's really difficult for the Liberty here in New York to be able to get the time of day when you've got 9 other professional franchises that are, unfortunately more popular. And the Liberty have not won. I think they went to the finals their very first year. I know they've been close the last couple of years, but it's really hard. I mean, we talk about hockey, trying to get some play, and that's the New York Rangers, an original 16 that's been around forever, that sell out every game at Madison Square Garden, and and the Liberty are what they are. But the hope is that if the league begins to grow, we'll be on it, just like the NHL has grown. We talk more NHL now than we did, say, 20 years ago. But when you're in a town with 2 baseball teams and 2 football teams and 2 basketball teams, Peter, it's hard to be able to gain a lot of traction, to get talked about. And if you haven't won, it's even harder. I mean, and you've got NYCFC fans and Red Bull fans. Why don't you talk about us? I mean, it's a busy landscape of sports. It is.
But to answer the question, though, I hope now that we're past the Ranger and Nick run, that maybe we will see an increased interest in the Liberty this year. Listen, it's going to be interesting to shake out. Like, yes, we are both part of people being more aware of it, and we're also just like everybody else. As the interest picks up, momentum is gained. That's just how it is.
But again, I don't want it to become a woman's thing. I had every intention of following the UFL. I did. I figured I'm a football fan, and I haven't watched a game, not even close. It just because there's just too much going on. Now, am I? Yeah,
new leagues are hard to jump in on. And when I say new leagues, WNBA is not a new league, but new league for us, it is tough to take on a new sport that you haven't watched a lot of in the past.
Right, and you got MLS, and you've got fan. Why don't you talk about that? It's really difficult when you've got your traditional 4, where it's ingrained in the psyche of fans because it's been around for a while. The WNBA started in 1997, and for a certain group of fans, that's a long time ago. For me, it felt like it was 5 minutes ago, but it was 25 years ago, something like that. So it's been a while. But to go up against sports that have been around for 100 years and teams that have had generations of fans, but maybe this is where it starts. Maybe this is the turning point. But to be honest, have I sat down and watched the Liberty game? No. My daughter, unfortunately, or fortunately for her, for long-term health, it has 0 interest in sports. She won't even watch Marco play baseball. Maybe if she got into it, I would start to watch, but it's really difficult for me to sit down when I'm just coming Rangers. I got to follow the Mets, and never mind interest for the talk on the show. It's hard.
1-800-919-3776. More of your calls next. Big 5 o'clock hour. We'll do some more Rangers as well and some Yankees calls. Certainly, it's the K Show on ESPN New York. And yes.
Dynamic air suspension, all-wheel steering, configurable terrain response, effortless in the extreme.
Rebag, a luxury resale marketplace curated with an eye for detail, where every dial, material, and stone is carefully vetted by our expertly trained team. A seamless experience for luxury collectors and sellers. Access the expertly crafted and the hard to find. Your next investment awaits. Rebag. Get 10% off your first purchase with Rebag TV.
Beautiful ladies, loving it. Beautiful family, jealous. Bride is the best day of your life. There's that smile. That's a keeper. Let's get the lucky men in here, huh? Oh. Ah, we got it. Groomsmen. Okay.
Some days are just too important for a trashy suit. Rent from theblacktux.com.
This is the moment.
That's entertainment.
You can't write this stuff.
This is the matchup you live for.
We did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
For years, one company has battled to deliver business products the next day with no freight charges. Now, WB Mason, with their famous fleet of trucks and drivers, faces their biggest challenge, rescuing shipping and packaging buyers from expensive freight charges. That's right. Now boxes, stretch film, and packaging tape are delivered the very next day at amazingly low prices. So, who do you call for fast delivery and no expensive freight charges? Who but WB Mason?
Trains. Trains that use the power of Dell AI and Intel. Clearing the way so you arrive exactly where you belong.
Welcome to Golden Nugget Online Casino. With all the slots and table games you love, feel like you're on the casino floor no matter where you are. So download the app, get started with this great offer, and have a great time in your downtime.
When I hit 80, I needed help around the home. A friend of mine told me to call Freedom Care, and they'll pay my granddaughter to take care of me.
Funded by Medicaid, Freedom Care allows people to choose who provides their care, and the caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift.
Life is sweeter with her around.
Nana gave me so much joy as a child. Now it's my turn to return the love.
Call now to find out benefits and pay, and how fast you can get started.
This is the moment.
That's entertainment.
You can't write this stuff.
This is the matchup you live for.
The 98.7 ESPN New York, big 5 o'clock hour, a lot to talk about with the New York Yankees. And also, I was just given some audio from Shanae Ogwumike, which we want to play as well, about the Caitlin Clark of it all that Anthony Pusick has reported to me as fantastic audio. So we'll get to that as well. Shanae does an awesome job, so curious to get her thoughts. Obviously, she is the perfect person, as she's a WNBA vet and ESPN personality. So we'll hear from her as well. Right now, though, as promised, I said we get back into some Rangers and Yankees, Don. You choose, Don. You want to hear Ranger first? You want to hit Yankee first?
I'll hit Yankees first.
All right, let's hit a Yankee first. Let's see if I have a sponsor for this, Don, while I'm at it.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you this. How about travel with the home team?
Okay.
Listen up, fans of said team.
Do it.
ESPN New York is giving you the chance to travel with the home team when the boys from the Bronx visit Boston. Who are the boys from the Bronx? Oh, I know.
What's in Boston?
You and a guest could enjoy the weekend with round-trip train tickets and 2-night hotel accommodations. For official rules and to enter, visit ESPN New York, the ESPN New York app, and click on Travel with the Home Team. Brought to you by Corona, the official cerveza of Major League Baseball. Now, how about this also, while we're at it, Don?
Yes.
You want a little bit of who's hot, who's not?
Why not?
I bet you could guess some of this. It's brought to you by General Plumbing Supply. Who's hot? Aaron Judge. He's hitting .364 with 4 homers and 8 RBI in his last 6 games. Also, how about Juan Soto, your AL Player of the Week? Who's not? The Met bullpen, which blew another 9th-inning lead to the Diamondbacks yesterday, and now have 6 losses this season in games where they led entering the 9th inning. By far the most in Major League Baseball.
How hard that is to do?
Oh, it's almost impressive. That's who's hot, who's not. Brought to you by General Plumbing Supply. General Plumbing Supply's starting lineup of experts will help keep your clients cool and your business hot. For Grand Slam quality and service, trust the real experts at GPS. Let's go to Eric. What up, Eric?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
What's up?
Hey, good. Hey, I just had a question for you, kind of just to pick your brain. Just a comparison question between the Yankees and Phillies, how they're playing right now. Back in 2009, when they went to the series, both the Yankees and Phillies were sitting at second place. The Yankees were at 31-21, and the Phillies were at 30-20 to this date in the year. This year, they're sitting both at first place, almost like same thing, identical records. Yankees 42-19, the Phillies 41-19. So I was just curious, I know it's a little premature, but, do you think we could be looking at a repeat of that again, or you might have other teams you might be eyeing?
Well, the thing is that how often do you see the 2 best teams in baseball play each other? There's so many pitfalls. But when you look at the level of competition right now, the Dodgers, I still think, are a very good team. They're 38-23. They're right there. 6.5 game lead on the Padres. Seattle's good. But there's really only a few teams in the conversation this year. We mentioned it earlier. There's only 11 teams above 500 in Major League Baseball. It's crazy. But I think the Dodgers are in the conversation. But right now, I think it's the Yankees and the Phillies are easily the 2 best teams in baseball. Dodgers, maybe. I think the Braves could be heard from. But with all the pitfalls and all the teams that make it, it seems like it's such a crapshoot once you get to the postseason, Peter. It's hard to guarantee things. And we're only in the first week of June. But right now, easily the 2 best teams in baseball are New York and Philly, and it's really not close at this point.
Let's go to Matt in Long Island City. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, guys. Actually, the stat, Peter, you just read about the Mets was one of the things I was calling about, but also just to talk about how bad they are. I guess an off-the-field thing that I'm not sure if you guys talked about. Did you guys see the Harrison Bader Mount Rushmore clip?
No.
Because I know this show loves a good Mount Rushmore. So he was asked in an interview. First of all, he's fully transformed into Jake Paul now with the beard. He looks exactly like him.
That's not a bad comparison.
They were asked him what his all-time New York athlete Mount Rushmore was. And he said Derek Jeter, Aaron Judge, and Anthony Volpe.
All right.
First of all, I mean,
so he's not
the
putting a lot of
bad.
into it.
There's only 3 in his list, so he doesn't know what Mount Rushmore looks like, I guess. But also, to name all Yankees and 2 of them current Yankees is such a bad look that I almost think it's on purpose. Do you think he's taking a shot, or he just didn't understand the question?
I really don't know Harrison that well. I like him, but if his cousin that calls the show is any comparison, it sounds like they're a little wacky over there on the Bayo Harrison family. No, I wouldn't even know where to begin. What he misunderstood, Mount Rushmore. If you don't know it's 4, then I really don't care what your answer is. But as far as the optic, Peter, that he's a New York Met, and he mentions 3 guys and they're all Yankees. I mean, you got to try better. No, come on. You can't throw a Tom Seaver in there just to kind of keep it honest. I mean, he's not wrong about Jeter and Judge, but, you play for the New York Mets. You grew up in this town. I mean, you can't throw a Tom Seaver in to pacify the Met fan. You can't throw even though he'd be wrong, throw a Darryl Strawberry on his weekend. If this represents the attitude of what's going on in that room with the Mets, and certainly what happened last week indicates that maybe it's starting to fall apart a little bit. That's not good. You had to go into the season, Peter, knowing that it was going to be an uphill battle, but do you think he just didn't think about it, misunderstood, or you think he's given a little shot at being a Met?
Yeah, it's hard to say.
I'm going to go with him taking a shot at the Mets.
I mean, listen, that's in play. I certainly understand
because
it.
I just he grew up around here, right? Right, Anthony? He grew up around here. All right, so it's not like it's not that hard to just throw out Tom Seaver to keep everybody honest. Honestly, you got to. And then Anthony Volpe's in his second year. It's just a stupid answer. So either he's an ignoramus, which I don't think is on the table, or he was trolling the team that he's on. Come on, man. I did not see that. I'm glad I didn't see it. I wish I didn't know it. Because I'm a Bader fan. I liked him when he was with the Yankees. But that's a troll job, man. I mean, come on. I know it's a mess there. But come on. The one thing I'll take exception to with the bashing of the Mets is they make it seem like this has always been the case. Doesn't this weekend show you an example with Darryl Strawberry being honored that there was a time where this franchise had it figured out with Doc Gooden and Darryl Strawberry and Keith Hernandez and Gary Carter? I know it was 38 years ago, but heck, they went to the World Series in 2000. They went to the World Series in 2015. I know it's a mess. I know there's dysfunction. But, I mean, you're on the New York Mets. I know he didn't have a lot of options where to sign. But come on. That'd be like asking me, the top talk show hosts of all time, and I throw, Francesa, Russo, and I don't know, Stan Martin. Like, what am I doing? I can't come up with one person at ESPN. You'd think I'd be trolling, right? I couldn't throw Michael Kay out.
Don, I said we'd go back to some Rangers as well.
You do what you got to do, man, because I'm on the edge now. Now that caller got me on the edge.
This is where I want you to be. This is where everybody wants Don LeBrecq to be.
But I don't want to live there.
Let's hear what Chris in Piscataway says. Hey, Chris.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Yes, what's
Good,
up?
buddy. How are you?
Good. So, Don, I really wanted to commend your point before when you're talking to Booch about, the Rangers could be the second best team in the league, and because I think they match up really well against Edmonton, which is what makes this so much more frustrating. But as I've gotten older, I get over this a lot faster. I look at it as, listen, they give me 9 months of entertainment, and I'm got to be pretty satisfied with that. But that being said, what is your thoughts on Keandre Miller? Like, I know everybody's bashing Trouba, and I thought that contract was an albatross at the beginning of the season. But Miller, we really signed him for $7 million a year. I mean, he's very inconsistent, and I can name 3 goals in this last series that were direct.
I wish he'd play to his size. I'm with you. I watch him all year long, and I think he's a good player, but I think he needs to play better. The guy that I was really impressed with this year was Braden Schneider. I think they've gotten way more out of him than I think they thought, so that's good news. I think Zach Jones does. Big change is going to be Trouba, but how do you get out of it? He's got $8 million due to him this year and next year. That's a lot of money to eat. I don't think anybody. He's only 30 years old, but he's coming off a miserable year. That's going to be a really difficult piece to move. Now, maybe there's a team out there that just needs a defenseman, and maybe they have a ton of cap space to take the chance. But, Peter, you're talking about the captain of a team. He's a third-pair defenseman. I just don't know how you move that. I think he's a good leader, and he's a good hitter, but it's a lot of money to commit to a guy, but I don't know how you get out of the contract. And you got to pay Igor next year. You're going to have to pay. They're going to want to keep Ryan Lindgren. He's a restricted free agent. Boy, Chris Drury's got a lot on his table, but I don't think they're that far away. But Peter, you make the wrong move here, then you could take a couple of steps back, and you don't want to do that.
Tom in Islip has another idea for you, Don. Hey, Tom.
Hey, Don. I just want to say one thing. They could pull the C off. And give it to Kreider. Kreider should be the captain of that team.
No, why isn't he? That's what I'd like. Nobody's been able to tell me why. I thought he was the perfect guy to be the captain of the team. He's the first guy to speak after the games are over. He's a lifelong Ranger, and he didn't get it. So did he not want it? Is there some reason why he wasn't voted to be the guy? What is it that Chris Kreider is not wearing the C?
Hey, Thurman Muncie didn't want to be captain of the Rangers either, of the Yankees either.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to be able to get the answer to that. Now, as far as you were going to say about trading Mika?
Yeah.
Again, $8.5 million cap hit. He's signed through 27-28. He's 32 years old.
There's a no movement clause.
Yeah, but here's what I'll say about the no movement clause.
He only has one shot.
Now,
he only has one shot, and everybody's against the post. He has no other shot.
Here's what I'll say about the no movement clause. All right, it's not impossible. I had a long conversation years ago with Larry Brooks. It was actually about baseball, not football, not hockey, but it applies to hockey too. If you go to a player and you say, "Listen, it's not working here. We got to maybe move you." Maybe he says, "No, I don't want to go." But once you tell a player, Peter, that we're thinking of moving you, wouldn't that if you were the player, wouldn't you think, "All right, maybe if you guys don't want me and you think you could be better without me, then maybe I'll waive the no movement clause, or I'll have, I'll give you a list of a couple of teams I'll let you trade me to." Would you want to just stubbornly say, "No, I'm not going anywhere," when an organization comes to you and says, we think we'd be better off if we traded you"? Like, how would you approach that? If you loved where you were, you didn't want to go, but the organization basically tells you, "We don't want you anymore," would that make you at least rethink about wanting to stay there?
I guess it depends what stage you're at in your career. I mean, the only way I would want to kind of suffer through that is if, like, I'm late in my career and I just want to finish it out. But if you're in the middle of your career, Don, don't you think if you're not wanted to be a part of something, you should go be a part of something else?
Listen, I'm not waiving my no-trade clause and, trading me to San Jose that's in a full rebuild. I don't want that. But if you have a conversation and you say, "Hey, we can move you to Colorado, we can move you to St. Louis, we can move you somewhere where, it's a pretty good hockey team, maybe you'd have a chance to win." And St. Louis might be a bad example, but you know what I mean. There's a team out there that, maybe Dallas, somewhere that's got a chance to win. I'm not saying he would. I'm just saying this all. Well, he's got a no trade clause, can't do anything. No, you can't say that. It's still worth the conversation. If they want to trade him, Chris Drury's got to have the conversation. And if he says no, hey, it's in his contract. He's got the right to say no. But it's still worth the ask to me.
Let's switch up and go back to. Oh, Spike Lee wants to chat? I wonder what the topic of the day is.
Really?
Let's hear. Hey, Spike.
How are you gentlemen doing this beautiful day in the greatest city in the world, Weber, York?
We're doing fantastic. It's, a lot going on. Yankees doing historic things. The Caitlin Clark conversation's very interesting. A lot going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to talk about the Mets and the Yankees for a minute, if you guys will.
Please.
Give me. I grew up in Brooklyn, and I hated the Yankees back then. I'm old. I was born in '57. Okay. So the Yankees, this after Mantha went, Tom Tresh, Stan Bonson. I mean, those guys, Jay Gibbs. So the Mets, Seaver, Noah Ryan, Tug, Don Clendenin, Bud Harrelson, Swoboda, and Wright. Tommy Agent center, Cleon Jones and left. So I grew up as a Mets fan.
Right.
And back in the day, the World Series was in daytime. So 69, we made the World Series.
Beat the Orioles, yeah.
Beat the Orioles.
Yeah, beat the Orioles. Hold on. So games 1 and 2 were in Baltimore.
Right.
We lose the first game, win the second. Games 3, 4, and 5 with Shea Stadium. And my mother said, "You are not going to the game. You are not going to miss school for some baseball game." And my father said, "He's going." So I went games 3, 4, and 5. Wow. But that year, I ran on the field 3 times with everybody else. When they won the Eastern Division, when they won the National League pennant against the Atlanta Braves, and when Davey Johnson flied out to Cleon Jones and left, we tore that field up. And I had for 2 years, I had a big patch of grass. And so besides throwing out my baseball cards and Marvel comic books, she threw out the grass.
She threw out your grass, too? Oh, my Lord.
Grass, 2 years it was brown. It wasn't even green anymore. So, I went over to the Yankees, but I still have, I'm not a Met hater. But, I mean, those Gil Hodges, manager, those post-Mickey Mantle Yankees were Rich Peterson. Didn't they switch wives or something?
Oh, yeah, he recently passed away, yeah.
Jake Gibbs, Bobby Mercer. Oh, those were terrible.
Listen, the far be it.
So for me, it was Jeter that made me go to the pinstripes.
Wow, man!
All the way to the 90s.
I gotta tell you, Spike. I love you. I think you're as talented a person as I've ever had a chance to meet. And the fact that you called us,
you're gonna kill me because I
you called this show without Michael. Like you still respected Peter and myself to call, even though Michael's not on. But boy, do you sound like a fraud. How do you not sound like a fraud? Like what you're describing is, boy, I hate the Yankees because they suck. And then I went to the Mets because they were great. And then the Mets suck, so I went back to the Yankees.
I was never a Yankee fan.
Well, what are you now?
When I was growing up, I was Mets.
What are you now?
Yankee fan.
All right, Spike, hold on.
Hey, let me ask a question.
Okay, Go ahead.
If somebody gets divorced, that means they're a fraud?
No.
You mean it means they changed their mind? That's what you're saying?
But you can't. But then all of a sudden she looks good to you again and you get remarried?
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. I don't hate the Mets.
Well, good for you. But I just don't understand. But what good? Part of it's being pain, man. Like when the Mets finally do win, whenever that is, it's going to taste that much sweeter.
I didn't go to the Brooklyn Nets, though. That didn't happen.
No,
it never happened.
And speaking of which, Spike, let me ask you this: are there any moves? What are the moves that you feel this Knicks team would have to make in the off season, if any, to compete for a championship next year?
Well, we got to make a move. I have complete confidence in Leon Rose and World Wide West. So I'm gonna pat myself on the back and say they're gonna do the right thing.
Did you get caught up in the Rangers run at all?
I thought they were gonna. I'm a casual hockey fan.
Because your son played hockey a little bit, right, when he was younger?
The Rangers. Oh yeah, because my son played hockey, and so we could also place on the park on Chelsea Pierce.
Okay.
So thinking of 5 o'clock in the morning, and then after he had 3 concussions, we stopped.
Oh yeah, that's too many.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, man.
Especially when you're young too.
He
was kind of light in the butt, and those guys would send him flying into the boards.
Spike,
but I just want to. Go ahead.
No, we just love when you call. Yeah. Even if it's to have Don yell at you for being a fraud, we love it.
Anything to promote?
Very quickly. This is the last I promise. I just finished shooting my new film with Denzel Washington. We finished Friday. It's going to be an MF.
When is that thing coming out? We kept hearing about people in the city and different cameos. When's that coming out?
It's going to come out next year because Denzel, he has a film out that's coming out at the end of the year. So we just got to wait to get that film out the year. But this is my 5th film with Denzel in order. Mo Better Blues, Malcolm X, He Got Game, Inside Man. Inside Man was 19 years ago. So Denzel and I have not worked for 19 years. But, he's bringing it. People, they're not ready for this film.
Wow. All right, Spike, we can't wait.
Action-packed, kidnapping, everything.
Well, I'll just play the role of Michael K. for a second. If there's ever a film that just needs like an old DJ or a sports talk radio host, feel free to hire me and just forget about the fact that I called you a fraud.
All right, and last thing, big series this weekend. Dodgers and the Yankees.
Yeah.
At Yankee Stadium.
You going, Spike? What games you going to?
I'm making some calls.
You got to make calls. They should be calling you.
I just found out the Dodgers were going to be here this weekend. No, it's gonna be great. All right, guys, thank you very much.
You're the best. There he is, the
I can't.
legend and fraud. We love him, Spike.
I just wouldn't be doing my job if I let that go.
No, well, if you let it go, Don, I'd be disgusted with it.
I don't hate the Mets.
Well, good for you. No, there's some good stuff. Some good stuff. All right, phone line's completely jammed. We'll talk to you next right here on Yes and ESPN New York.
My name is Charles Bonzik. I'm seeking a life-saving liver. I want to live for my dad. He's a total marvel when it comes to motors. I want to fall in love. Oh, yeah. I want to live for my friend Franco.
2 more years, bro.
To infinity and beyond.
True.
My name is Charles, and I want to live.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here, make a statement while barely making a sound, and command the road as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
If anyone knows the joy of rescuing animals, it's me. Just ask my rescues, who are all very important members of my family. Your life can also be forever changed by adopting a shelter pet. And it's not just about happiness your pet gets from finding a loving home, but that which you'll get from bringing them into your life. The heroes at American Humane have been helping animals for more than 140 years, whether it's rescuing animals caught in disasters, ensuring the safety of animal stars on screen, or protecting our planet's endangered species. They go above and beyond to further their mission and make the world a kinder place for animals. Please consider adopting a shelter pet and support American Humane. You can learn more at AmericanHumane.org.
Hello, I'm Dennis Quaid. For years, Tunnel to Towers has demonstrated a commitment to first responders and military families. They've paid off mortgages and built specially adapted smart homes. Now the foundation is expanding its mission to eradicate veteran homelessness. Please give our veterans a chance to reclaim their dignity by donating at T2T.org.
Have you heard about summer in New York? The secret spots. Hikes you want to get lost on. The views no one would believe. Rides for the whole family. Start your getaway at iloveny.com.
Summer is around the corner. Put your plans in motion with great deals at the Ford Memorial Day sales event. Go places near and far, on-road and off-road. Bring your friends and all your toys. You've got the plans. We've got the deals. The Ford Memorial Day sales event. Get a head start on summer. Hurry in to get a Ford Edge with 0% financing plus $4,000 bonus cash. Now in the final days of our Memorial Day event.
FanDuel Casino has your chance at the #1 feeling, winning. Winning ranks higher than any other feeling, higher than number 30. Saying, I told you so.
Told you so.
Higher than number 89, the feeling of catching your car keys with one hand. And number 78, thinking it's Friday when it's really Saturday. New players get 200 chances at winning with their first deposit on FanDuel Casino.
Chris Sheeran back here for the Michael K. Show. The Bombers eclipsing their sweep total from last season is brought to you by Montefiore Einstein, the official hospital of the New York Yankees. The Yanks were chasing 2 in the top of the 9th until Anthony Volpe laces this pitch into right center field. Jose Trevino on his horse. He will gallop around third, and he will score. And the Yankees cut the deficit to just one. Volpe didn't have to wait long to touch up at home, and he basically could have crawled because Juan Soto destroyed that baseball into the seats and right for a 2-run shot, his second dinger of the game. That put the Yankees on top, and then Giancarlo Stanton finished the 4-run inning with a ground rule double, scoring Aaron Judge, who walked earlier. The Yankees hit for the cycle in the 9th and come back to beat the Giants and get the sweep. The final 7-5. They earned their 5th sweep of the season at the beginning of June. They had 4 all of last season, as we mentioned. They come back from their first West Coast trip with a 7-2 record, going through the Padres, Angels, and Giants like a hot knife through butter. Next up is their last meeting with the Minnesota Twins in the regular season, a 3-game set to start a new homestand in the Boogie Down. Our coverage begins tomorrow with BPTV at 6, followed by the pregame at 6:30, and first pitch is scheduled for a little after 7. It's the Yankees and Twins tomorrow night, coverage starting at 6 right here on Yes, and streaming, of course, on the Yes app.
Let's hear from our colleague, her thoughts on the Clark of it all.
My State of the Union WNBA edition. Let's start with the play. For those who may be new to this, the WNBA has always been a physical league, full of competitive fire and trash talk. And on the full sequence of that play, Caitlin was talking. And in this league, no one backs down to trash talk. Now, I have played with Kennedy Carter, and her choice to retaliate on a non-basketball play was literally foul and something that she has struggled with her entire career. That was not okay. But one player's approach is not indicative of an entire league. All rookies, especially #1 picks, I know what it's like, have been tested mentally, physically, emotionally, from Candace Parker to Sabrina Ionescu to Kelsey Plum to Skylar Diggins-Smith. And a few days ago, Alyssa Thomas was just ejected for a hard play on Angel Reese. Plays like this happen in sports, but now it's being used to further agendas that don't serve the game.
She went on. Let's hear a bit more from Shanae.
So when it comes to women's athletes, there's this expectation that players in the heat of the game should constantly stop what they're doing and be appreciative of Caitlin. They should bow down instead of being the competitors that they are. These women are elite basketball players who are competitors, who show up and show out every night before the eyes were there on the game. We all know and we appreciate the unparalleled amount of growth and attention that Caitlin, I'm her biggest fan, is driving to help become the beacon of so much interest and engagement and viewership to this game. But that narrative, that actually does a disservice to her, because the ones who grind through that type of grind become beasts. This is not hate. This is hoops, like any other sport that is professional at the highest level.
I mean, it's almost exactly what we were saying earlier in the show, Don. That's your feeling exactly.
Yeah, listen, she shouldn't be treated any differently than anybody else would. She's different. And she said it's a very physical league. And a lot of people don't know that because they haven't started watching it until now. And it is a little jarring to see a player of that ilk get knocked down. But, hey, that's just part of growing up into this sport. And everybody kind of warned us going in that there will be a transition period for her.
But like you said earlier, we've seen it with so many greats before her.
Yeah, you got to have to kind of prove that you belong. Now, is it jealousy? Is it hazing? However, whatever you want to call it. When you come in with that much hype, you don't think there could be players around that be like, all right, let's see what she's really worth here. And if she was smack talking, then that's part of it. You know, you can't just walk in here and think that you're going to be able to get away with that. And she said, hey, when you smack talk in the WNBA, that's probably the way that you're going to get treated.
I'll say what I said earlier. Have you ever watched a sports movie before? You really think the rookie comes to the league who's this good and everyone just sits there and is like, oh, Caitlin, you're amazing. No, you knock her down when you get it. It's literally the basis of practically every sports story ever. When someone awesome and young comes to a league and everybody's talking about them, oh, you think you're so great? Let's see how great you are now.
That's it.
And you survive it, you become an all-time great. That's how this whole thing works. Here's Manny in New Jersey who wants to talk Caitlin Clark. Manny, what do you got for us?
Hey, I understand I understand her getting, pushed around and stuff. I didn't hear anybody say about her team sticking up for her?
It was a little odd, right? It was a little odd that they didn't come to her support. I don't know why that is. I mean, it's not a good team, Manny, so I don't know how many of these players believe that they're going to still be hanging around and all that. I don't know. I don't know what kind of relationship they have with her. Maybe they feel kind of the same way the other players play. Maybe they want her to go through with it. Maybe Caitlin told them, listen, don't come and defend me. I can take care of myself. I don't know, Peter, but I thought the same thing. Like, why didn't they come to her support?
Yeah, I mean, or maybe it was just one of those moments. If you saw it, it kind of happened and was over. Now, maybe you would have expected to see a little more response later in the game, but also, can I be real? Maybe there was some level of response later in the game, and no one's talking about it.
I don't know.
So that's the thing. Let's go to Carolyn in Stamford. Hey, Carolyn.
Hey, guys. Thanks so much for taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
Every day, and I love you.
Aw.
But I couldn't disagree with you both more on Caitlin.
Okay.
I thought that foul was hard, and I thought it was dirty. And, my God, the ball hadn't even been inbounded yet, and she was on her butt. And did you see last night where she walked off the court with her mouth in a towel because she was bleeding? So Caitlin's not going to complain. Hey, she's going to take it. She's going to be a pro. But I really do think the league needs to step in on this. And I don't think, Don, that it's going to make it illegitimate. When they put the Michael Jordan rules in, that didn't make the NBA illegitimate. And when they put the Brady rules in, that didn't make the NFL illegitimate. So I think they need to step in. And for you, Peter, I don't really think it's a black-white thing. I think really this hate started when Diana Taurasi showed some shade to Caitlin at the NCAA. So that's just what I think.
What did she say? What did Taurasi say?
She just kind of said she wasn't all that.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, and said wait till she gets into the league. But it kind of spurred it on. It's the way she said it. It was like, wait, she's really gonna get it when she gets into the league.
But she ended up being right. Because I think they're because anybody comes in, Caroline, to a situation where Carolyn, I'm sorry, that you're going to walk in and she's going to be a superstar. Well, it's going to take some time. I think we're finding that out, that it's a more physical league. And as far as the Jordan rules or the Brady rules, that comes with the reputation and time. Yeah. Believe me, when she becomes, and you know what's going to happen, when she becomes a legit superstar, then there's probably going to be calls she gets that other players don't get. Yeah. The point Taurasi was making is, all right, what you did in college, that's great. But now you're going to go to the WNBA and you're going to start from zero.
Yeah, and my only point with Diana is that with the white-black, I really do think Diana, and now I think it's kind of over the top, and I think it started with Diana, so that's why I didn't think it was as much of a white-black
No, I think you're right, Carol. That's a really great point, and you are welcome to call anytime. Yeah. Great, fantastic points. We appreciate that insight 100%. I think that's a really good point with the Taurasi thing, too, and I don't mean to suggest when I brought her up earlier that I think that's the purveying issue. I just think it's a little thing below the surface that everyone's kind of avoiding mentioning for obvious reasons that kind of exist in the conversation as well.
But I think what Taurasi was trying to say, and a lot of other people were saying the same thing, is supporting the WNBA. If you think she's going to walk in to this league and score 50 points a game and light it up like she did in college, you got another thing coming. And because it's a higher level, it's a true professional league, and there is a clear level above what she played in college. Not saying she's not going to get there, because I think she will, but there's going to be an adjustment period, because this isn't some just like rite of passage. You come in and then you just become a superstar. No, there's going to be a transitional period. Now, are the fouls hard? Are they necessary? Probably not, but it's all part of the growth process for her to overcome. That it's not easy, and that's good for the league. Because if it were easy, Peter, then you'd start to wonder, okay, what are they doing here? You know, what's going on that she was able to make that kind of a transition? Then when she finally gets there, isn't it going to be sweeter? Isn't it going to feel more real that she had to overcome adversity to get to an even higher level?
It's a great point. And you said it to Carolyn, and it's so true. The time will come when she starts getting treated that way, but you got to earn it at first.
Right, there were no Brady rules or Jordan rules when they first came into the league.
No, the Clark rules would be there once you prove that you're a star in this league.
Right.
And And to Carolyn's point, that's sort of what Taurasi was saying, was that you're going to struggle when you get to this league, Tim.
Hey, guys, how you doing? Peter, you know I love you to death. I listen to you on Hot 97, but I only call when you're just completely wrong.
Whoa.
You're wrong on Colin Kaepernick. And Taurasi did not say that Caitlin Clark was not all that. He said she's going to come into the league and she's going to struggle. She's going to have growing pains. Okay. All of the talking heads kind of jumped in to try to make it seem that it was something more than what it was. It's also a little genuine to say that there is no racial element. A lot of the new eyes that are on the WNBA are now on there because of Caitlin Clark.
But
that's not taking anything away from her.
But you disingenuous. I'm the one who said that. I'm the one who said there was a racial element.
No. I know. No, I'm not saying that you didn't say that. I'm saying that you kind of mischaracterized what Taurasi said.
Oh, well,
I'm also I'm agreeing with you in terms of people saying, like the woman that called just before that was saying that there is no racial element to it. There absolutely is, and if you're honest about it, you can understand that. It's not taking away from her talent.
But hold on, I want to ask Tim one question. Tim, you brought us back 3 years. What was the thing I was proven to be wrong about with Colin Kaepernick?
Then you had a problem with him taking a knee in the first place.
What? That is the
no.
I had a problem.
No.
I literally, if you want to get super technical, Tim.
Oh my God.
I literally, on the first day that Cap took a knee, the first day before it was a story, I was like, oh, I don't know. Does Colin before he was Colin Kaepernick, that was the only day that I was unsure how I got eviscerated. For supporting Kaepernick. Half the people who hate me are because of my
you got that one wrong, Tim.
No, I get it. You came around. You definitely came around.
After 24 hours.
That's what, listen.
Can I get 24 hours, Tim?
But I really don't want to have to relive that summer, Tim. But let me get back. Let me get back to the original point, because I really want to touch on this. I know it's taboo, but it really kind of bothers me. And Tim hung up, so he can't answer. Maybe you can respond, Peter.
No, I hung up on Tim. I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
That there's no question a racial element to it. Why do we have to take that leap? Because a black woman hit a white woman, that race has to be an element to it? Like, listen, I'm not going to say that there's no way, but when are we ever going to be able to overcome the differences that we have in this country? When we're always going to jump to that, when it happens to be, in this case, a black on white incident, that automatically it has to be that.
But I don't think that's what that's not what I was referring to. I don't know if that's what Tim's referring to. I think what we're referring to is, or at least let me not speak for Tim, who's holding me accountable for something that I said for 5 seconds 5 years ago. What I'm referring to is the overall conversation that exists, because it's Caitlin Clark. The conversations that will exist about her are not different than Eminem in hip hop. Whenever you have someone of a different race excelling in a sport where they're quote unquote not expected to be the star, there are going to be conversations. Number one, because people will think that person's getting too much credit, which they may be. Evidence being, listen to Eminem's Dear White America, in which he's basically like, yes, I'm a great rapper, but I'm getting more attention because I'm white. I'm sure Caitlin Clark would probably say
to anybody that was playing at that particular time at that level. I mean, she was breaking records, more points than anybody has ever scored, male or female, on the college hardwood. So if this had taken off, Peter, unexpectedly, and there were other players that were comparable to her, and there were maybe black players that weren't getting the love, well, then please bring the racial element into it, because it had to be explained. What she was doing was off the charts. So why can't it just be that? The other element I'm seeing on social media is, well, they love the fact that she's straight. Well, what does that have to do with anything? I had no idea if she was or wasn't, because it doesn't matter to me. Like, so we all bring up why. Why can't the why be that nobody on the college level has ever played to this level? So it's not even debatable. So why even bring another element into it when the reason is obvious?
Well, I do think the biggest part with Caitlin Clark has always been, I think most people would say this, the biggest part is the way that she plays the game. Her style of game is so appealing visually. I mean, last year, we all said this, she was the most exciting player in college basketball, man or woman, because of the way she played and how good she was at it. But Don, with all due respect, I think you're also living in, it's unicorns and rainbows to think it's not going to be a subject that exists in this country.
But this is why we have, can we at least acknowledge that this is why we have an issue? Because it gets brought up even when it's not even really debatable?
No, it's a symptom of the problem. It's not the problem.
But we make it the problem by bringing it up.
No, that's not what's making it the problem. The problem is it's America. It's baked in there, Don.
It's only baked in because we keep turning the heat up. When you have somebody that's this good, why would we even have to bring up another reason why? She was that good. And we would only have to bring up other reasons if she wasn't that good to figure out why. Why are we giving her so much attention? Well, why? Because nobody's ever played at this level before.
But Don, neither of us know enough probably about the WNBA's history to say if there have been players that have been very close.
No, I'm not talking about the WNBA.
And nobody talked about them. Or even college players who were close to the level and we didn't talk about them. We would have to legitimately look through the stats and say, whoa, actually, this was a player 5 years ago who was pretty darn close to this and didn't get any of the accolades.
Because we're open-minded, less about race and more about just gender. And that we're acknowledging women's sports now more than ever. But even in the time that we've done that, has anybody played at this? Have broken the record for points? I mean, listen, I'm not denying the fact that it might be there, but it's there because it's being talked about as a debatable topic when I don't even think it's a debate why she's so big.
1-800-919-3776. We'll do some of this. We have Point God coming up next. An Anthony Pusick, ENN at 6 o'clock. It's the K Show on 98.7 ESPN New York and yes.
At Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, being the Northeast's best cancer center means being the best for you. Pairing the most advanced treatments with the most compassionate treatment. It takes looking at every cancer from every angle. And a care team that looks out for you and everyone you care for. It takes MSK.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
Nice to meet you. My name is David. I've been a pharmacist for 44 years. When I have customers come in and ask for something for memory, I recommend Prevagen. Number one, because it's safe and effective, does not require a prescription. And I've been taking it quite a while myself, and I know it works. And I love it when the customers come back in and tell me, David, that really works so good for me. Makes my day.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription.
This is the matchup you live for.
Big season. More reasons to say yes. Wow. Yes to the ultimate viewing experience.
Aaron Judge crushes one.
Yes to in-game live stats. And earn rewards and win prizes. Get all the Yankees action on the Yes app. Download now.
My dad, he's a double amputee, and he's one of my favorite people in the world. To me, a hero is someone who fights for our country and freedom. My dad is a hero. Homes for Our Troops built this house, and it's basically made for him. My dad can get through the wide doorways. When he is making our lunch, he can reach anything we need. He'll help me build tiny projects. Life is good here. Without Homes for Our Troops, we'd be living in a home that didn't have all these features that helped him.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives.
If they get a new house like this one, it'll help them do normal life. My dad's not just a hero, he's my hero.
Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
Hello. Today we are talking about Medicare Advantage plans, also known as Medicare Part C. If you have Original Medicare, you have Medicare Part A and Part B. Part A covers hospital stays, while Part B covers medical visits like seeing the doctor. A Medicare Part C plan covers everything in Parts A and B and could save you money or include additional benefits you may not be receiving with your current plan. If you're new to Medicare, moving or losing coverage for any reason, call now to see if you're eligible to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan that could include additional benefits. All you have to do to find out if you could enroll in a plan that could save you money or include additional benefits is follow these steps. 1. Call the number on your screen. 2. Give your zip code to the licensed insurance agent. And 3. Find a plan best for you and your needs. Part C plans can change every year. Call now, even if you've called in the past, because you could be eligible for 2024 plans with additional benefits that may have previously been unavailable to you. So call today and find out the plan options available to you in your zip code. Just call 800-958-0297. You do not automatically get enrolled in a Medicare Advantage plan that saves money or includes additional benefits, so you should call to find out what plans are available to you. Insurance companies offer different plans in different zip codes. Call today and find out what plans are available to you in your zip code. Call 800-958-0297. If you're new to Medicare, moving or losing coverage for any reason, call now to see if you're eligible to enroll in a Part C plan that could save you money and include additional benefits. All you have to do is follow these steps. 1. Call the number on your screen. 2. Give your zip code to the licensed insurance agent. And 3. Find a plan best for you and your needs. Remember, you do not automatically get a Part C plan. Call now for your free 2024 no-obligation Medicare benefits review. Call 800-958-0297. 800-958-0297. 800-958-0297.
The Michael K. Show on Yes is brought to you in part by Bigelow Tea, who encourages you to grab a mug and tea proudly. Chris Sheeran back here for the Michael K. Show. After going 7-2 on their 9-game West Coast road trip, the Yankees are back home for their next homestand, which begins tomorrow with 3 against the Twins. And then a huge weekend set with the NL West leading Dodgers beginning on Friday. Then they hit the road once again next week with a 4-game set in Kansas City, and then their first trip to Fenway to face the Boston Red Sox in the 2024 season. Our coverage for tomorrow night's series opener with the Twins comes your way at 6 with Yankees batting practice today, followed by the pregame and first pitch is scheduled for a little after 7. It's the Yankees and Twins coverage starting tomorrow at 6 right here on Yes, and streaming, of course, on the Yes app.
Well, he deserved it. He called his shot. He was right. And it looks like he's going to retire, and I don't think many Giant fans are going to miss him after a very lackluster 12 games in the 2023 season. 1-800-919-3776.
I'll take it.
Yeah, why not? Big win on a Monday.
Yeah, you want to start
the
the week
tone.
with a
You
win.
took game 1 of the best
That's
of
right.
5.
That's right. Got to protect home court. Let's go with Len in Ronkonkoma. Hey, Len.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Hey, Len.
Listen, Don, I love you. I love you, Don. I love you guys. I love the show, but
there's a but.
Don, it's. I get your point. Yes, as a Black African American man, I get tired of hearing the racial entity intertwined into everything that we do, everything we say, everything we interact with. But, and you should probably read my book, Stereotype Threat.
Okay.
Your parents died through race.
I need a book.
But,
I'm finishing up a book now, so I would like to get that book, Len.
Oh, it's a quick read.
Okay.
Quick read, Don.
Okay.
And as a parent of young kids, beautiful read.
Okay.
But, Don, there's no way that we cannot look at Caitlyn and not see that there is some racial entity going on, some racial fight, some racialness that's going on in there. We can't ignore it.
All right, well,
we can't ignore it. As much as I hate hearing.
No, but I'm up for hearing it. Give me an example of why you believe there is.
Example?
Yes.
Our country.
No, but but specifically here, the allegation is that part of. Wait a minute, Len. I'll let you finish. But part of the allegation is that she is as big as she is because she's white. And my fight is, I'm not saying that they're wrong, but that she was just so special. But because you'd wonder, well, why is she so big? Why does she become such a phenomenon? And I think it's enough to say that she was just so good at basketball and so good at the way she handled the run and all that's what made it so special. I'm not looking for anything else, but if there is something else that I'm missing, I want to hear it. Other than that's just what goes on in this country. Because then we'll never get up from it, Len, because our country is divided. I will give you that. But doesn't it add to the division that every time an issue involves a black person and a white person, that race automatically gets thrown into the hopper? Then we're never going to be able to get up from it.
No, we won't get up from it if we continue to ignore that it's there.
That's what I would say.
But what's the difference between ignoring and creating? All right, right. So. Now, if there is an element there, if God forbid somebody called, if there was something there to it, then please expose it. Let it be known. Not just, it's always there, so it has to be there. Then I feel like that sometimes we get caught in creating it, which just increases the narrative for no reason.
You're right. This is why I love you. You're right, and you're still wrong.
But
you're right, and you're still wrong. Because I'm hearing you say, we got to do better. We need to do better. We need to find a way to do better. But doing better is, we cannot do better by just saying, hey, we don't want to talk about it.
Right, like that's what Len, I'm with you. That I agree with Len too, Don, and that was the point I was trying to make, is that I felt like we were awkwardly all dancing around the subject with Caitlyn. And I don't think it's great just to ignore it. It's okay to say that it exists. It's a little bit uncomfortable, and continue to have the conversation. But Don, you can't tell me you think there's a chance that right now you don't have white people thinking, why are these black girls being mean to Caitlyn? And hold on. And you don't also have black people saying, why is this white girl getting all the attention? Both of those things are happening, and that's okay.
Right. And what I'm saying is that
to some degree.
But what I'm saying is that the narrative continues because now by always having it be there. So what you're saying is, no matter what happens in this country, if it involves two different races, then it will always be a part of the narrative. And what I'm saying is,
fully acknowledge people fully acknowledge that it's baked into us, and we have to get over it together.
But in order for us to be able to move on, is to be able to acknowledge when it's there, and also acknowledge when it's not there. Because if we the scenario you're painting is that it's always going to be there, and if it's always there, then we never have a chance to get up from it.
But Don, as long as we have a major part,
we do.
Len, I would say this:
we have to conversate. We have,
and I think that's what we're doing now. Hopefully,
but guess what? She's a great player. She is a phenomenal player, and the reason why she's getting 70% of the attention she's getting is because she's a phenomenal player. But there's 30% of that because people find it easier to accept her, easier for her to look upon, easier for her to create their own narrative in their head that she's not a villain, she came from an upbringing, that she's deserving of all the hard work and attention. Because that's there, she gets 30% more attention.
Well, that's all I'm saying. But
Len, thank you, buddy.
At least,
thank
you, Len. And I want send the book to the station because I'd love to be able to read it. But even that's arbitrary, right? Well, 30%. Is it 30%? Is it 10%? Is it 50%?
He's guessing.
Well, but I'm saying, that's dangerous. I'm just saying is that I just want to be able to have a conversation where it's not always the case. I know, Peter, there's always going to be a segment of the population that believes that that's always going to be the case there. But can you at least acknowledge that sometimes people like that are reaching? Just as you could accuse me of maybe not paying attention to it or not calling attention to it, or as you put it, ignoring it. If I could be accused of that, then can't somebody be accused the other way of creating something that may not be there?
Well, yeah, dude, absolutely. Trust me, I'm dealing with it right now. I'm personally dealing with an experience where it's not there and people think it's there. Absolutely, that happens all the time. But I think in the case of something like this, there is a certain level of sort of great white hype that does exist, even when the player is phenomenal. Speaking of phenomenal, Anthony Pusick, ENN, next, right here on ESPN New York, and yes.
This is the moment.
That's entertainment. You can't write this stuff.
This is the matchup you live for.
How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
Do you spend hours maintaining your gutters? Save that time with LeafGuard's maintenance-free system. Call 1-833-2-GUTTERS. Mesh filters sit on top of your gutters, building up debris and eventually clogging. Then they need to be cleaned too. Honestly, your home should have been built with LeafGuard gutters. LeafGuard's wraparound hood deflects debris and keeps water away from your home. The one-piece seamless system is strong, 20% thicker than average, and built to last. Plus, LeafGuard is guaranteed to never clog for as long as you own your home. Right now, get a complete LeafGuard system for only $99 down, $99 a month, and $99 installation. You'll also receive a $100 Visa gift card with a free gutter inspection and in-home estimate. Damage from clogged gutters can cost you thousands. Never worry about clogged gutters again. Don't wait, you've still got time. Call 1-833-2-GUTTERS today. That's 1-833-2-GUTTERS.
Recipes written by hand and lost to time are now being analyzed and restored using the power of Dell AI.
Hi, I'm Greg. I live in Bloomington, Illinois. I'm not an actor. I'm just a regular person. Some people say, why should I take Prevagen? I don't have a problem with my memory. Memory loss is not something that occurs overnight. I started noticing subtle lapses in memory. I want people to know that Prevagen has worked for me. It's helped my memory. It's helped my cognitive qualities. Give it a try. I want it to help you just like it has helped me.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription.
When I hit 80, I needed help around the home. A friend of mine told me to call Freedom Care, and they'll pay my granddaughter to take care of me.
Funded by Medicaid, Freedom Care allows people to choose who provides their care, and the caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift.
Life is sweeter with her around.
Nana gave me so much joy as a child. Now it's my turn to return the love.
Call now to find out benefits and pay and how fast you can get started.
Break up with your old wings and lemon pepper wing from Popeyes. Crispy, saucy, available. Popeyes finally has wings in 6 flavors.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
Summer is around the corner. Put your plans in motion with great deals at the Ford Memorial Day sales event. Go places near and far. on-road, and off-road. Bring your friends and all your toys. You've got the plans. We've got the deals. The Ford Memorial Day sales event. Get a head start on summer. Returning lessees, hurry in to lease a Ford Explorer for $369 a month. Now in the final days of our Memorial Day event.
It's amazing to think that my grandmother started Bigelow Tea right here in New York. And today, we're still a family company. And you have to remember, tea, that's all we do. So every cup counts. That means never compromising. My family won't let that happen. And our extended family, they give their all every single day. And our community, well, they expect that.
I want a cup of Bigelow Tea to be a moment just for you.
That's what I hope for.
I'd like to start off saying good evening to the man who'll be back tomorrow, Michael K.
People are lit.
What was that, Michael?
Michael, Michael, I remember I used to get lit back in the day.
And that was Bill Clinton.
Playing with my fellow Yankees, Michael.
You turned Paul into Bill.
That's right.
Good evening to Spike Lee and Don.
I don't hate the Mets.
I don't. Well, good for you.
Good evening.
I loved it.
To Peter.
Can I get 24 hours, Tim?
I think Don said I hate him.
Is that what he said? Okay, one more time. Can I get 24 hours, Tim? No, he said, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Maybe it was just in my head.
Oh, my God.
This is why I love you. You're right, and you're still wrong.
That was a great call, by the way. He was, I got to tell you, say whatever you want about this show. We had some really good new callers today.
Yeah, someone said that.
We've had some really
Steve Brzezinski
good...
said that.
He did say that.
By the way, the picture Steve Brzezinski posted where he met Bully Ray, did you see the look he had going there?
Yeah.
Oh. Bully or Steve?
Steve.
No, Steve. That was a hell of a look from Steve.
I was gonna say,
It's a good look for him.
Yeah, no, I want to see that look from Steve at all times. But I got to tell you.
You know, you might see that look.
The Beach Bash?
Oh, yeah.
What's going on with that?
I don't know. You tell me.
You want me to tell you about
Yeah,
it?
be a good idea.
All right, well, it's June 28th at Bar A in Lake Como.
We're getting there, Don.
Come on down. It's going to be Bart and Hahn. It's going to be the K Show. So many giveaways for fans in attendance. Plus, the Mark Ribbler Band, which Pusick, if he ever left the studio and wasn't a hermit freak, he would come enjoy. It's all brought to you by Open Road Auto Group. Flight by Yingling, New Jersey Lottery, Calandra's Bakery, and General Plumbing Supply. You got to be 21 to get in. But yeah, you say what you want about the Peter Don vehicle. I'll tell you what, the callers on these shows are different and original and awesome.
Yeah, Don, I assume you agree. I'd give a lot of credit. I give a lot of credit to you guys, of course, and to the New York Rangers. As we know, me and Don love hockey, not the biggest sport that we cover here, but when it's a big story, Ranger fans come out, and we appreciate it, because that means that we have Ranger fans listening to the show, and that makes me and Don happy.
That's right.
So thank you, and thank you for a great run. Being able to talk some Ranger hockey.
I have a tremendous amount of opinions. I'm going to keep it to myself.
And Baggy Day tomorrow, so there's a chance we hear from Chris Drury, from Peter Laviolette,
and there's a
chance players. And there's a chance we won't, like Don said. So we will have to wait and see. But we did have some thoughts from the Rangers, who lost on Saturday to the Florida Panthers. Peter Laviolette just talking about how tough it was to find the back of the net in this series.
It was difficult to score, generating the quality that we wanted to generate. We knew that coming in. We knew it from the way they finished the season. We knew it from their first round, their second round, and coming in that they weren't giving up a lot. Ultimately, I think that's something that we were able to do pretty consistently throughout the course of the year. You look at the scores, you look at the games, low scoring, 1-goal games. Ultimately, I think just trying to find that next goal inside of a game could be the difference.
It's hard to win, and it's hard to win when the team that's better is in your way. Now you got to be that next team. Remember, it was Tampa. And then Tampa's now faded, and now it looks like it's going to be Florida. Then eventually Florida's going to fade, because in a cap sport, you can't stay together for too long. They've got free agents they have to address. And so when they take that step backward, are the Rangers going to be the team that's going to take the step forward, or is it going to be Carolina? Is it going to be New Jersey? Is it going to be Boston? Like, who is going to do it? You've got to be that next team. You've got to be sitting there ready to pounce. Because right now you're not good enough to beat the Florida Panthers, but I think you're good enough to beat everybody else. That's the frustrating thing. And also that shows you why you want to finish as high as you can, Because if you played with your food, as Peter likes to say, in the regular season, maybe you would have faced Florida earlier. Well, not with the format that they have, but you know what I'm saying is that you get Carolina in the conference final and you couldn't get by them. Carolina's in the same situation, right? Carolina stuck in the same division as the Rangers. They can't be the Rangers, so they can't get out of the second round. Yeah, that's one of those things. But thankfully, the format tells you can't play Florida until the conference final. But unfortunately, if they're there, unless the Rangers improve, they're not going to find a way to be able to get by them.
And they now have an opponent, the Florida Panthers. They start the Stanley Cup down in Florida against Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. Kind of a surprise, in my opinion. I thought the Stars would win that series. But Stuart Skinner, give him credit. He was amazing in games 5 and 6. The Oilers won 2-1. And, Peter, if you didn't see the McDavid goal.
Oh, I saw it.
Oh, my goodness.
Are you kidding me?
It was unbelievable. I mean, that's something that only a handful of people in the league can do, and he's one of them.
Was that his... I know he's had an unbelievable career so far, but was that his marquee moment so far?
Oh, that's got to be a legacy game for him for sure.
That's a big deal. I mean, because
at home, you don't have to go back down to Dallas in a game 7, and you set the tone like that. And then really the defense kind of just held serve. I mean, they only had, this is the crazy thing, Peter, 10 shots.
10 shots. It's
lowest amount of shots in a conference final clincher in history and win.
Holy crap.
That is 10 shots.
10 shots. And they
I was
scored
complaining
on the
about
first,
the Rangers shot output.
2 of the first 3 they scored on. That was it. That's all they needed. The power play goal was good too.
I think at the end of the first period, right, Anthony, they were getting outshot 14-3, and they had a 2-0.
Yes, 14-3.
So it's just incredible. It really is amazing. But you know what? I think it's just so good for the sport. I know you'll look at it and say that this matchup's not going to garner a ton of ratings. It's the Florida Panthers versus the Edmonton Oilers. But I don't know. You tell me, Peter, as a hockey casual. The Oilers hold some cachet just because of that's where Gretzky played.
That's the Oilers, for God's sake.
And it's Connor McDavid. And it's helped the NBA that it really didn't matter about market. It matters about stars. And you're going to have Connor McDavid playing for trying to win his first cup. And listen, I don't know how the ratings are going to be, but I'm intrigued as a hockey fan to see how this Oiler team is going to be able to find room to roam, because I would think the Oilers are going to have the same problem the Rangers had. The Panthers are going to suffocate them, but can Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl find room to still score the way they did last night against Dallas? And
all of your Stanley Cup action and all of your NBA Finals action can be seen on the mothership, ABC.
On TV.
On TV. And you'll be able to hear a lot of these games on ESPN Ray-Ro.
Ray-Ro.
That's right. Thank you, Don. Guys, I think it's time for a Who's Hot, Who's Not. It's brought to you by General Plumbing Supply. Peter mentioned it earlier. Juan Soto, Player of the Week, and why not? He's hitting .435 with 3 homers and 9 RBIs in his last 6 games. And someone you mentioned earlier, something that kind of almost got overlooked because of all the drama that came from her earlier game of the weekend. Who's not hot? Caitlin Clark. She had the worst game of her WNBA career yesterday in a blowout loss to the Liberty, scoring 3 points on 1 of 10 shooting. She was 1 of 7 from behind the arc. So probably her worst game as a WNBA player.
Would you go as far as saying not what you want?
It's definitely not.
And listen, I don't know a lot about the WNBA.
Proud of you for admitting that. A lot of people struggling to say that these days.
The Fever are not good. She's not on a very good basketball team.
She's not.
So
that's why you get the number 1
I'm a big believer. As good as you are, nothing will drag you down more than a bad team. And it seems like they've got a very bad team in Indiana, and that's why they had the first overall pick.
Yeah, they're 2-9, only better than the Mystics, who are 0-8. It also seems like they've played a large amount more games than everybody else. They played 11 games.
It feels like they're on every day.
They're on every other day.
Did I hear correctly? They've had because they've only played 11 games.
They played 11.
And they've had 3 back-to-backs and all their games are going to be on national television. And so their schedule and nothing's going to make a bad team worse than having to play a lot of back-to-backs and a lot of primetime games.
And I believe the schedule is truncated a little bit, so it does feel like they're playing a lot this year as opposed to years past because of the Olympics. So I think they did have to fit everything in.
We've seen that from hockey.
So that is just a dangerous combination for, as you said, Don, not a really good team at the moment. That's Who's Hot, Who's Not, brought to you by General Plumbing Supply. General Plumbing Supply's starting lineup of experts will help keep your clients cool and your business hot. For Grand Slam quality and service, trust the real experts at GPS. Big signing in the NFL today.
Oh, my God.
Justin Jefferson.
We should have brought this up earlier. That's my fault.
Yet. 4-year, $140 million deal The extension includes $110 million guaranteed and makes Jefferson the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. JJ, sticking with JJ, McCarthy, that is, in Minnesota. Another reason Steve Brzezinski should be happy.
Well, and the reason why he made as much money as he did, because you're not having to pay a quarterback for a while. Well, how much is Darnold making? And
$150
yeah,
a game.
and JJ's still on his young deal. So, yeah, this is what you do when you don't have to pay a quarterback. But that's an outrageous amount of money. I think it's the most per year of any non-quarterback in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just had one of the Bosa's, I believe. You know who's really happy about this? CeeDee Lamb and Tyreek Hill.
Seriously.
and Jamar Chase also was looking for a new contract. I mean, the bar has been set. I don't know if you get much higher than that, guys.
I wonder also if other teams will just say, hey, yeah, that's what they did because of their situation, but no, we're not doing that. It doesn't make sense. We have to pay. We have a quarterback.
That's right. Everybody's situation is different. Believe me, he would not be getting this deal if they were still paying a ton of money to Cousins. So they took advantage of the situation that they're in. But, you know, CeeDee Lamb can't get that if you're paying Prescott. Now maybe they'll let Prescott go.
And remember, guys, a lot of these guys that got these deals, like Justin Jefferson just got it. A.J. Brown just got his deal, and Justin Jefferson just jumped right past him. Amon-Ra St. Brown got his contract extension this offseason, too. Jalen Waddle just had that big deal we talked about last week.
They're all kids, too. I mean, what is Jefferson, 24?
He's 25. Amon-Ra St. Brown is 25. Jalen Waddle's 26. A.J. Brown's 27.
Yeah, they're all. We don't have that problem with wide receivers like with running backs, where by the time you get to 28, you're an old man. You're a geezer.
It's pretty crazy. That is a lot of money. Peter, not so good news for your Washington Commanders. This story has been kind of circling over the last week or so. Brandon McManus was accused of a sexual assault. The Commanders decided to cut him. They released him days after the lawsuit was filed against him became public, alleging sexual assault from an incident that occurred when he was a member of the Jaguars. McManus was signed to a one-year, $3.6 million deal. They didn't re-sign Joey Sly, their previous kicker.
He fell off a cliff.
On Monday, ESPN reported the lawsuit. A Commander spokesperson said the team was aware of the situation and was in contact with the NFL as well as McManus's representation. And they said, we take allegations of this nature very seriously. So, Peter, you're in the market for another kicker.
I mean, it's the right thing to do. It's a kicker with an accusation. I mean, I'm sorry. You can just find kickers. I mean, that doesn't mean it's when you have a great kicker, it's an incredible piece to have. But at the same time, it's not like you can't get lucky and find one for cheap. If McManus was Justin Tucker, we'd probably be having a different conversation.
It was a one-year deal. This is not like they were expecting a long-term kicker here.
So don't you think you get a new guy for a one-year deal, and you're trying to build a new organization with a new culture? You're not risking that on your kicker. I'm sorry, you're not.
Well, it's anything, right? It's not a huge investment. You can replace him. Now, if the allegations are false, you feel bad that he lost his job, like that punter in Buffalo from a couple of years ago. His name escapes me.
Matt Ariza?
But yeah.
Or Ariza?
But I believe they probably did their due diligence and said it probably did happen, or at least it was ugly enough that they didn't want to be associated with him. Now, eventually he may be cleared, or maybe he doesn't go to trial or whatever, but that doesn't make you innocent. And believe me, the NFL, they've got plenty of former FBI guys working for them. They can find out everything that happened. So the fact that they let him go, yeah, it wasn't a lot of money, but there probably was a lot of fire to that smoke if they did that. I just hope, he's not being accused falsely, but you got to do what you got to do.
Sad news for the Dallas Cowboys. Hall of Fame offensive lineman Larry Allen died at the age of 52. He died suddenly Sunday while on vacation with his family in Mexico, the Cowboys said. Allen was one of the most dominant linemen in the NFL during a 12-year career, spent mostly with Dallas. He was an All-Pro 6 consecutive years from 1996 to 2001 and was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2013.
I got to tell you, you could say all you want about Aikman, Smith, Irving, all the guys that were on that Dallas team. They were great because of that offensive line. Stepkowski, Nate Newton, that line was what made them special.
That was really sad. I couldn't believe 52 because I think about that team, and I was a child, which I was. But these guys were only, they were children of Jace at the time. Really sad story to see that. 52 is just too young.
Way too young.
And Hall of Famer Alonzo Mourning recovering from prostate cancer. Mourning underwent surgery to remove his prostate after a stage 3 cancer diagnosis, he told ESPN's Woj. Additional testing revealed the cancer did not spread. Mourning is now advocating for men to be proactive with their health, something that is a great message, because that is a cancer that, if caught early, can be treated.
Yes, the screening is just so vitally important. We talk about, colon cancer, but also going to urologist to check it out, because if they catch it early, it's not a big deal. But if they catch it too late, it becomes a major problem.
Wasn't Zoe sick back in the day, Don? Yeah, he had a kidney transplant.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, in 2003.
Oh wow, I had forgotten about that. And let's not forget too, he had Jeff Van Gundy surgically removed as well from his leg.
Oh my.
So there's a lot of things
from his leg. You're saying. That's well done.
If Michael could win absent point God, he would try today.
What was that?
Yesterday, the Yankees played the Giants, and they came back and won in dramatic fashion. Juan Soto being the one to hit the game, or the go-ahead home run, I should say.
A Ramalama ding-dong, if you will.
But what happened in that game also was that Giants starter Blake Snell exited with a groin injury. Now, Michael would never be excited about anybody getting injured, but what he did say was it would be in the best interest of these Boris clients to sign as quickly as possible, because it is important to get your spring training in. Blake Snell has not been pitching well. He entered Sunday with an 0-3 record and a 10.42 ERA. And now he left the game with a groin injury, tightness in his left groin. And he pushed off the mound in discomfort after a 97-mile-per-hour pitch. Guys, it just hasn't worked out really for that Boris 4. I think Jordan Montgomery's been okay, but even Snell, I think, 2 weeks ago, said he really would have valued having that spring training. So clients of Boris have to be careful that if they don't get into camp early,
you're more likely to get hurt.
But we talk about it with Soto. Please, these athletes have to remember, the agent works for you. So if you want to play, if you want to do what you think is right by you, don't listen to him. Do what you got to do. He's working for you. So if Juan Soto wants to stay in New York, and Boris advises him, take a higher, if you want to stay, then stay.
It's so hard, though, Don. We always have this conversation about the agent works for you. But when you have a high-powered agent, it just doesn't feel that way, I think.
Well, but you have seen, Alex Rodriguez parted ways with him. You just have to remember that. But I also say it to the point where let's give some blame, if you will, or reasoning to the player. Like, don't always fall on, Boris. Well, listen, Juan Soto hired Boris. So if he wants to stay, he can tell him. But if he doesn't, let's not blame Boris. I mean, ultimately, the player has to be the one. Snell could have said, listen, I don't want to hold out. I don't want to go someplace late. Pete Alonso, same thing. He's got Boris as an agent. So, hey, look at the landscape. Tell him I want the most money, but I also want to play. I want to be someplace in spring training. I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to miss time. You can control the narrative, Peter. It's your life. You're the one that's going to have to go play there. You're the one that's going to have to make the decision ultimately. So
I know,
have some backbone when dealing with these.
But when this person's so powerful and they're telling you for sure what money they can get you, I think it just gets really hard to stand up to.
Or maybe you put some blame on the player and say, well, and wasn't Boris. He hired Boris. I guess he wanted the most money, and he made his own bed by not being someplace.
Fair also.
We only got about a minute left here, guys. Now, it'd be remiss if we didn't talk about UFC 302 in Newark this weekend, where Aaron Rodgers made an appearance.
That's right, Fauci. I guess you weren't at UFC 302. It makes you too busy getting grilled in Congress for everything you did to lie to us. But Donnie, I had a great time there. Donnie, I was there with some of my good friends, former president. That's not true. No. I didn't even see you.
Oh, I
walked right by you.
Look at that.
Now, were you happy to see the former president?
Love Donnie. He's not Bobby. He's not Bobby.
Which Donnie do you like better?
I like this Donnie.
This Donnie.
The other one is not Bobby. So, arrogant Aaron, I got no interest in you. You know why? You haven't won in a long time. It's been a long time since you won the big one. Always losing the big game. But I love you, Donnie.
I really look forward to Michael having to see how this all works out. That'll do it for ENM, brought to you by Security Dodge. Hey, guys, it's the season. Shop 24/7 at securitydodge.com.
Anthony, fantastic job. We thank you guys for rocking with us for the last week and a half. Kaser will be back with us tomorrow at 3 p.m. Our buddy Dan Grassa is up next. Have a wonderful night.
That's a wrap on the show for today. Coming up next, Yankees Classics. For all of us here on the Michael Kay Show, this is Chris Sheeran saying have a great night. We'll see you again tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
The Michael Kay Show on Yes is presented by Untuck It. Shirts